Snoop Dogg joined Faze Clan.
Damn, dude.
Did you see the video that they actually made for it?
I didn't watch the video for it.
They literally just made him a dog with dreads.
Cool.
And is now, I think his Twitter handle has like Faze Snoop in front of it.
That's dumb.
Yeah. It is dumb.
At least he can't be worse than the people who were kicked out of Faze Clan for doing that crypto scam. Remember that?
Yeah. I think Faze Clan is one of the funny ones. Like, how is it still around?
I don't know. I don't. To be fair, I don't really get.
Well, I guess Optic is also still around, and they were like actually the first.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I never really got the fucking big esports thing. I know some people are really into it, but it wasn't Faze, like, wasn't their big thing being like a Fortnite team?
No. Their first big thing was back in Machinima days, when all you had to do to join a clan was to just add Faze into like your clan tag or whatever.
Yeah.
There was members of Faze who were like trick shot guys. They would make Call of Duty montages, specifically starting around, like, it existed in Call of Duty Modern Warfare, but it got really popular in Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2.
Yeah.
Where like back in the like 2000 like 2010s or whatever, early like beginning, when like 2009 2010, when these montages were coming out, they would get like 300,000 views.
Yeah.
Which now is like negligible.
Yeah.
But back then, that's like getting a 30 million view.
Yeah,
video.
because like there were fewer people using the internet.
Yeah, well, and also Machinima was like, even though Machinima's like had like 750,000 subscribers, it was still one of the biggest channels on YouTube. But yeah, it was like people with the name Faze, with Faze in their name, would be like do these trick shot montages, and then they segued into there being like guys who did montages and pro players.
Yeah.
And there wasn't like the only esports.
You remember when
scene,
esports was called MLG?
Yeah, which MLG only really existed in like Halo.
Yeah, it was Halo, and then it branched out to COD.
It branched out to COD like much. Well, it was like we had Halo. Halo had some of the like sickest people. They had like their own teams and stuff, but really it was mostly like it wasn't an organization. It was just four guys who were like, we play really well together.
Yeah.
Like Walshy, Ogre 1, Ogre 2, and then a fourth guy. And then Nakey Jakey.
Yeah.
It was just but now it's like then Faze came around and there was like Faze Banks, I think.
Yeah.
Was just like, he was like their first the guy who like started it. Or he was at least the guy who stayed with it long enough that he could be considered the owner, and then made it into a monetized thing.
Like
which
a
then,
business.
when esports started to get bigger and there was like Dota teams, they got like a guy on Faze who plays Dota.
And League of Legends.
And then they got like, they don't really have fighting game stuff.
I would be so happy if I never had to think of or hear League of Legends ever again.
Same.
It would make the world so much better. And I know what you're thinking if you play League of Legends. I like League of Legends. Well, you know, maybe you should use your leg and get some bitches.
Get leagues of bitches. Touch grass. Yeah, so it's just, that's what, you know. And then they just kept getting bigger and bigger, and now they have like hidden Counter-Strike teams. Like, there's always been professional CSGO players. Or, well, Counter-Strike Source. But then when CSGO came around, that's when, like, the Call of Duty guys got into Counter-Strike.
Yeah.
And then CS got, like, bigger and bigger. And then Fortnite, and then PUBG, and then, like, not Apex, but...
Fortnite, more like Fortnite.
Yeah, so then there's a bunch of guys, like, in Faze who play Fortnite. I think Tfue was in Faze.
I don't remember.
But I think Faze was also the one who they also...
Faze has had the most controversies as well.
Yeah, they got in trouble because Tfue... I'm going to double check, but I believe he was with them. That he was with Faze, and they were like straight up stealing money from him. It was with Faze. Where like he would, like, for ad deals that they gave him, they took like 80% of his revenue, and then ad deals that he brought in because he was using the name Faze, they would take 50% of his revenue.
Yeah, and then that's one thing, and then
they also, he was like 19 at the time, which legal drinking age in the States is 21, and he's from Florida. He just wanted to play Fortnite, and they were like, if you're going to be on the team and you're going to be sponsored by us, you have to come live in LA.
Yeah.
So he had to go across the country, And what the guy really, all he wanted to do was just chill in his room and play Fortnite. That's what he did. He was 19 years old. He didn't care much for anything else. And but then the Faze guys were like, no, you got to come be involved in all like the IRL content. You got to like party. You got to hang out. If there's people over, you have to be seen. And it's like, wow, that sucks.
Because you have to be a like content creator and be part of the narrative. Which, like, whatever, either way.
Then he alleged, which I think is the reason why he got out of his contract, is that he alleged that they were telling, at the age of 19, they were saying, you can just go if you're feeling, like, they were pushing him to drink, pretty much. So that was like, the judge was like, whoa, a young man drinking
a 19-year-old drinking alcohol? Who would have even heard of that?
It's Mountain Dew, baby.
The joke is that in Canada, the drinking age is 19.
Yeah, and also the joke is that It's Mountain Dew, baby, is from when Shaun White won the gold medal in the early 2000s, and he was doing an interview with someone on CNN, and he was like, "Yeah, I was passing the medal around so people could take pictures with it. They were just giving me free drinks all flight. And they were like, drink, Sean, you're 19," and then he just on the spot goes, "Mountain Dew, baby." Which obviously is a lie. There's no way he wasn't just drinking, because wherever the Olympics were that year, it was legal for him to drink. And I believe the rule is,
if you're an American and you go to any other country, you cannot drink ever.
Yeah, or else you go to prison and have your testicles sliced off when you get back.
Facts.
And if you're a woman, they do female circumcision on you.
Oh, I thought you were just going to say a hysterectomy.
I forget. Is that when they just take your whole vagina out?
Uterus.
Okay. No, to make it worse.
Anyway, the other Faze Clan thing, like I said, is the crypto scam. It was a pump and dump. In case you don't know what that is, essentially what they did was they created a coin called Save the Kids coin. And they were promoting it all over the fucking place.
Yeah. It was at the beginning of cryptocurrencies when...
Not the beginning. This is like 2021.
Well, the beginning of like cryptocurrencies like popping off.
This was the meme coin era, like the Doge era.
This was the pump and dump era.
The shitcoin era, yeah.
Which had some hilarious pump and dumps, though.
Yeah.
Like, horrible that you...
A pump and dump is just factually a Ponzi scheme.
Yeah.
But essentially, yeah. Faze K did the pump and dump thing. Essentially what he did was like he had that altcoin, and then once it got bought into, he promptly sold all of his stock, which he had tons of because he started it. So essentially what it is you buy in super low and you sell super high by essentially like insider trading and like publicly promoting a thing. So you fuck over pretty much everybody who wants to take your advice, and then you pull out. And I don't know if it's technically illegal, but it is a scam.
It is not illegal because there is no laws saying it is.
Yeah.
But if you were to do that with a stock,
yeah,
it's illegal.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's because cryptocurrencies are currencies, even though you can't really... There's no real marketplace for most of them.
The thing that dudes love to yell about is that cryptocurrencies are deregulated currencies.
Yeah.
Which means that there's no one in control of them, which means there's no guy who can just say like, oh, actually it's worth this much for no basis.
Right, but like, okay. So the idea of having a decentralized currency that does not rely on major banking corporations that you can use on the internet freely is an interesting idea. One that's like, we are not connected to any nation nor any bank. This is a fucking free currency that like you're able to do whatever the fuck you want with and buy drugs online. That's fine. I'm like not against that conceptually. Because like whatever. Have crime coins. I'm fine with that. The problem is A, that it's bad for the environment, and B, we actually haven't created a marketplace for most of these cryptocurrencies. And the ones that we do have aren't that great. So like,
you can sit around and say you're a crypto millionaire, but it's like but then you have to put the money back into like US dollars for that to matter.
It's like, do you know what's funny is that there is a real comparison, and it's when those libertarians back in the 70s tried to create their own country on a piece of land they didn't own, and then they sold currency. And that currency, instead of being like a legitimate currency that you could use to buy goods and services, it was just basically like a stock, right? It was being used less as a real currency and more as an investment. And the same thing's happening with crypto. Like, nothing new exists under the fucking sun, right? The idea of like, we've invented this currency that's just a stock, and it's basically bullshit and imaginary, just like a stock, except it's supposedly a currency and it's not regulated at all.
Yeah, but stocks are at least based off of profits of a company.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, right? Like, because we are using currencies as investments now and not actually as currencies, and they're completely unregulated. That's why we're seeing all these pump and dumps. That's why we're seeing a lot of people get completely fucked over. And also, like, again, the crypto fucking, like, what is it? The because it's decentralized, essentially crypto runs on all of these different servers all across the world, and it's like extremely, like, for as like per capita, it's bad for the environment
because it has a huge power consumption.
Exactly,
that's the reason why.
Yeah,
it costs a lot of money to run the stuff. If they just fucking had it on like off the grid, fucking like, you know, their own their own fucking solar powered shit.
Crypto would be less bad for the environment if it was fucking printed on paper.
Damn, I think we've broken new ground.
Guys.
You ever see, you know, like the College Humor CEO sketches?
Yeah.
You ever see the one where Brennan is like the owner and operator of like a small town, like store, like hardware store, and his grandson is like trying to convince him to like become a ladder subscription service, like, because he just got back from like business school or something. They're literally just making fun of like business majors.
That's funny.
But the joke is that he starts trying to lead where he's like, oh, I'm closing the store and we're going to be an online marketplace only. And his like, why? I've had the store for 30 years.
Yeah.
And then the kid's just like, Grandpa, no one cares about fucking like local stores anymore. And then they at one point, it just goes, the kid, he reads the script and says, we're going to have specific pop-ups placed around the city so that people can come and check our online merchandise in purpose. And he goes like, has anyone ever done a permanent pop-up location? And just starts trying to like lead him down the way of pretty much saying like
keeping
the store around as a permanent pop-up.
Yeah.
And then the kid just goes like, Grandpa, stop trying to make me reinvent. Stop trying to convince me I'm inventing things that already exist. Which is like Elon Musk with buses.
Yeah. Subways, but for your car.
So Subways, but inefficient.
Yeah, because like Elon Musk
cause traffic.
Yeah. I want to have the experience of riding a subway, but I don't want to see poor people. I know. I'll invent a subway for cars.
Literally, they could just add like an extra fucking like sub.
If they added a one-person seat to a subway,
no, they added in like one train, but you need like a special card that costs like $1,000 a month to have, and you swipe it, and like you go in, and it's like there's a fucking
first class.
There's a man. There's the classic butler with like the fucking like thing on his arm, like the towel on his arm, going like, "Hello, sir. Welcome to the fancy car." And like it seats 6 people max.
Have you seen that TikTok going around of that woman complaining that like, oh, New York City made it illegal to drive on certain roads unless you're a bus, and now the buses are so
well. It wasn't. It was roads.
Poor people.
It wasn't the roads necessarily. I didn't see that one about the roads, but what I did see is that on a busy street, there used to be a section that you could pull off into that they made for parking. And then they said, go fuck yourself, made parking there illegal, and allowed buses to just skip past all the traffic.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, that's totally fine.
Now the buses are more full, and it's like, yes. New York City, it's the city with some of the best public transit on this side of the planet.
Honestly, it surprises me that they even fucking have buses, considering there's a subway stop every 2 blocks, and the subway runs throughout the entirety of like the city.
Yeah.
Well, obviously not the whole city, because the city also happens on Staten Island.
Yeah.
And then in Brooklyn, which is...
Well, there's like the mainland, so maybe the bus would...
There's Manhattan, I think the Bronx
So
and Harlem, which are all like on the island.
Brooklyn, yeah. So Manhattan's the island, and then I think Brooklyn, Queens, and
Queens. Queens is on the south part.
Yeah, Brooklyn, Queens, and Staten Island are the areas of New York that aren't on Manhattan.
Yeah.
I think there might be maybe more, but those are the ones.
There definitely is, because it's like Queens is just like a sliver at the bottom. Brooklyn is the landmass up top, and then Staten Island is another island.
Yeah,
but then there's definitely like a spot, like a place between Brooklyn and Queens.
Yeah, maybe that's the Bronx.
Maybe it is the Bronx. I don't know where the Bronx is.
Yeah, I know Harlem. I know Harlem's on Manhattan.
Yeah, Harlem's on Manhattan. I think the Bronx is. What's the south part? Because that's not Manhattan. The south tip part of the island.
The south part of Manhattan?
Of Manhattan Island, yeah.
Well, I know Harlem's in the south part of Manhattan.
I think it's in the north.
There's a lot of there's a lot of like neighborhoods, but there's what is it? The 5 boroughs? It's Brooklyn, Queens, Harlem.
I'm just going to New York right now.
Yeah, what are the 5 boroughs or whatever? 6 boroughs? I don't know how many boroughs there are. There's boroughs.
It's pretty hard to find New York when you don't live in America. There, I found it. And also when there's so many fucking like highways.
Do you mean North York?
New York is Manhattan, Harlem. Oh, Lower Manhattan.
Yeah.
The Bronx.
Yeah.
Wait, maybe? Probably. No. I don't know.
I know there's like Tribeca, which is like a neighborhood.
Okay, it's Manhattan is the whole island. Mm-hmm. Harlem is in Manhattan.
Mm-hmm.
The island, the Bronx is not technically on the island, but it's like the river separating it. Oh. It's hardly an island at that point.
Oh, is it like the little island between like the mainland and Manhattan? Is the Bronx?
Oh man, I wish I could like turn off these fucking like road maps. Actually, I think I can. Turn off traffic. Okay. We were kind of wrong though.
Okay.
So there's Manhattan.
Yeah.
You always think Manhattan's a bit more like isolated because
I thought Manhattan was more south. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's Manhattan. There's the big river that separates New York and New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
Manhattan. Then there's this, and then it cuts along there. That's what makes it an island. So it's just Manhattan and Harlem is there. The Bronx is just over the river, and Brooklyn is past that.
Yes. Okay. So the 5 boroughs are Manhattan, Staten Island, Brooklyn, Queens, and the Bronx. So like it's like a whole thing.
Yeah, but also like a lot of them are close enough.
Yeah. Well, like
that,
Queens and Brooklyn are like right next to each other. But Manhattan is much smaller than I thought.
And then Manhattan has a full fucking like multiple systems, like train systems going through, all like coagulating around the Empire State Building. Mm-hmm. And then you can take those all the way up through the Bronx. You can go all the way into Queens, and then you can go pretty much throughout all of Brooklyn as well.
Yeah. Oh, and both airports are in Queens. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Although one thing I do know that I have looked up, by the way, is one thing that can make you pissed off if you look it up is look up private jet departures in New York and see how many private jets go from a JFK to LaGuardia and back.
Isn't it like next to each other?
So they're across Queens from each other. So rich people with private jets will take their jet to the opposite side of Queens to avoid traffic. Sometimes. Literally,
if you can afford a fucking jet, you literally deserve to pay more. Mm-hmm. 1 second. Is Long Island and Staten Island, they're different, right?
Yes. But Long Island's not one of the boroughs, I think, because it's really small.
It's pretty big.
Isn't it?
I don't understand New York. It's a lot. But hey, At least they got public transit.
At least they've got good public transit. Toronto has pretty good public transit.
It's it's all right. It's just more bus centric, which is
it's a lot more bus centric.
Which slows us down a lot.
Yeah, because buses are affected by traffic, whereas trains aren't.
I was yelling at Michael about this one time. On those like streets that are like too narrow to like make any bigger without like destroying the sidewalk or making it just like a car street.
Yeah,
they should literally say cars can't come down here anymore.
Yeah,
this is a street for buses. Just go fuck yourself.
Or make more streetcars.
That too, but that's what I'm saying is that you can put them having. They're the only things that can go down those streets.
Have you ever been in a streetcar in Toronto?
Yeah,
they're great.
Yeah,
they're really cute.
They're kind of just like buses, though.
A streetcar is if like a bus and a train had a baby.
Yeah, but they have to stop, unfortunately, because they have to operate around traffic as well.
Yeah, but they don't. They can ignore traffic more because traffic tends to try to get out of the way of the streetcar.
Because the streetcars take a while to stop.
Yeah.
So if you get hit by a streetcar,
if your car gets hit by the streetcar, it's your fault. It's a fucking streetcar.
Yeah.
Like they tell you when they're coming.
They tell you when they're coming. You know you're in their lane.
Yeah.
And it's pretty much like it's like buses, except you have to like yield the entire lane and not just like let them turn whenever they want or merge when they want.
Yeah.
Yeah. Except it sucks because you also have to drive in those lanes all the time because cars park on the side of the street in Toronto so much.
You have to.
Yeah. That's why it's not a very drivable city.
Oh yeah, by the way, this is a Media Hole podcast.
Yeah.
I'm Nathan.
This is the traffic episode.
This is the complaining. Fucking gas prices? Are you kidding me?
Well, they're going back down now.
Are they?
Yeah.
I thought this was going to be.
But it was all a fraud, and they never needed to go up in the first place.
Of course.
Yeah. Because in like February, I can't remember the fucking context for why it was happening, but one of the executives at Pioneer pretty much just stated on like on an interview, I think with like Fox, that gas prices, if oil costs like $100 a barrel, and if it costs like $150 or $200 a barrel, that gas prices shouldn't have been affected by that. And the reason why they were affected this time is because we lost 11% of the world's oil, which is just fucking stupid. What you looking for?
Just some weird shit. Yikes.
This is about a funny story. In Japan, there is now a minor boom in falconry.
Nice.
Crows are attacking solar power plants with stones, and the only effective way to keep crows away is to deploy falcons.
And then we gotta release the bears to get rid of them.
One trained falcon making 60 attack sorties a day can protect 100,000 solar panels from vengeful crows.
You remember that Simpsons joke though, where it's like, well, it's simple. You got to put out I forget what the animal list was, but it was like.
But it's just based off of the like. It isn't based off of that fucking like children's story about the woman who's like, oh, she swallowed a spider, so she fucking. Swallowed a fly, so she swallowed a spider, and then to get the spider out from inside her, she swallowed a cat.
Yeah,
and then she swallows a dog, and then she swallows like a horse for some fucking reason. It's like, bitch, dogs aren't afraid of horses.
I forget what it was, but it was like in The Simpsons. It's like, oh, well, then in the harsh Springfield winter, they'll all die, and then we just got to clean up all the corpses of the last animal that they bring in, which is very funny.
Yeah.
And I know like towns actually do have to do that sometimes, but I think it's ridiculous.
Well, it's like there's no rats in Alberta.
Yeah. Except for the ones that walk on two legs.
Except for the ones in Congress.
Anyway, you want to talk about the state of play?
Yeah, fuck Sony. Just announce it better, man.
They announced it. They did the Nintendo Direct thing. They announced it like a day before.
Yeah.
So there's a state of play on March 8th. They said this was going to focus on games coming out this year, and mostly Japanese games. And you know what, Ian?
What?
They did exactly that.
You're right. They are all, except for like one, which was made in Japan. They are all Japanese as fuck games.
Yeah. So we got first up Exo Primal. This is the new game by Capcom.
Looks like a Lost Planet sort of thing.
It
looks like if Lost Planet and Warframe fucked,
or EDF.
That too. Well, if Lost Planet took Warframe's character aesthetics,
yeah,
and added in EDF's bugs, except they were dinosaurs.
And so there's a chick with red hair in this, which people are like, is this a Dino Crisis reference? Is this in the Dino Crisis universe?
Yeah.
Maybe it is. Who knows?
Who knows?
I hope so.
Maybe it's just, or maybe it's just an Easter egg or a callback.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's a third-person shooter with also third-person action elements.
Yeah.
Which, we know Capcom likes making third-person action games that are good.
Yes.
So probably this game will be pretty good. Very fun, 4-player co-op.
Yeah.
They made Monster Hunter. They've made Devil May Cry.
They know how to make these kinds of games.
Yeah.
Yeah. They made Lost Planet.
Yeah, they did make Lost Planet. Lost Planet, one of many games that was, can we make a Monster Hunter that white people like? And the answer was no.
Well, Lost Planet 1 was so technical and confusing, and the maps were so big and they were very like whitewashed. It was hard to like know
the
what you were
Monster
doing.
Hunter games for white people. There are 3 different franchises built off of that concept.
Okay.
Lost Planet, Dragon's Dogma,
okay,
and I forget what the third one was.
But it's out there.
There's a third Capcom, can we make Monster Hunter for white people franchise that is dead now.
Mm-hmm. But Lost Planet 2 apparently is like actually really good.
Then Lost Planet 3 is Dead Space, I think.
Yeah, but then Lost Planet 1 was like such like a failure.
Yeah.
Well, monetarily it wasn't, but like it was a failure critically that when Lost Planet 2 came out, a lot of people just didn't play it. Mm-hmm. So
next up, we got a trailer for Ghostwire Tokyo, which is coming out later this month. Stranger in Paradise got another trailer. That game's coming out later this month.
Also, new demo came out.
New demo as well came out on the day.
Yeah.
Game still looks good. I mean, it's Stranger in Paradise. It's Final Fantasy Neo.
Yeah.
You'll buy it, maybe.
Forspoken,
we got a new trailer for and a new delay for. It's coming out in October now instead of in May.
Honestly, yeah, go for it.
It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
We've said this a bunch of times on the podcast.
We have already seen the game.
Yeah.
So delaying it at this point is just them being like, there is a lot more polish to be made, and we're taking the time for it instead of putting out like something where it's like you can't even hit the same level that you do in the trailers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we've said a lot about this game before that we're excited for it, and I especially say, man, I want to have Luminous Production get a W. Like, they've had it rough. Luminous Production was a studio formed to make Final Fantasy 15.
Oh.
So as we know, the final version of Final Fantasy 15 at launch, rather, was
bad.
They tossed out like about 8 years of progress to make that entire game in basically a year and a half, which like did not turn out great. And I'm sure, despite the fact that like tons and tons of really talented people worked their asses off on the game, and then they worked their asses off to make the game so much better over time with both DLC and free updates. And then the DLC plans get canceled after like 3 DLC fucking packs get completely canceled, and they like get that thrown out, and it's like, Jesus fucking Christ, give these people a break. And so I hope this game turns out incredible.
Also, 2 of those DLCs, amazing.
Yeah.
Did you play any of them?
I did not play any of the DLCs.
Okay, so the Gladius one is kind of just like shit.
It's just a boss fight, isn't it?
It's like it's like a small boss rush thing where you can only use his abilities. He doesn't get like anything very new. He gets like a power guard system, or like I don't know. It's something that like he can take a hit but then hit back harder. But then Prompto is like super interesting. It's where you find out that he is like a clone and not the original Prompto, which is fucked up.
Yeah.
But then it's all, or he was a magic, like a new breed of like Magica soldier or whatever.
Magitech.
So he's never actually existed.
He's like not a real guy.
He was made. He wasn't born.
Yeah, you do kind of get hints at that.
He tells you straight up in the story, but it just comes out of nowhere because these DLCs,
were originally supposed to be in the game during those parts where the character leaves.
Yeah. So Promptos turns into this like
Third-person
fucking
shooter.
kind of sick third-person shooter.
Yeah.
Where like you get to use like all his like the guns and like his other like weapons that only he gets to use in the actual story.
Yeah.
And then you get the sickest one, which is Ignis's.
Ignis's, which has a good end.
It has
Super good end.
has an ending that changes the actual ending of the game.
Yeah.
But his which that's like an optional thing. So Ignis Noctis's like manservant since he was a boy.
Yeah.
And they are like only 5 years apart in age or something. Like he was literally like given to the family, or he's like born into a family of butlers.
Yeah.
So he was given to the youngest son at the time, and he's like, if you go watch the Final Fantasy Brotherhood series, like anime, you see a lot of him like actually acting like a big brother to him, and trying to help him. But Noctis is just such a little shit sometimes.
Created a new recipe.
Yeah, but then you get to play. He has like a really sick fighting style. He gets like he kind of has Noctis's warp thing around, but it's actually affiliated into his combos where he like zips around with dual knives. His magic is actually like a thing you can throw out really easily. But then the sickest thing is at the end of the DLC, you put on the King's Ring, and if you are not of the royal bloodline, it destroys you from the inside out.
Yeah, that's why he goes blind, isn't it?
Yeah, that is why he goes blind. They make it seem like it was just an injury that happens while he's like fighting, but it's because he puts the ring on, it takes his eyesight away, and he fights the final boss in the game, and you fuck him up.
Yeah,
it's so cool. And then the ring like destroy. Then you can the canonical thing is that you destroy him enough that he retreats.
Yeah,
and Ignis takes the ring off and loses his eyesight. But you can go a step further, keep it on, sacrifice your life, and kill the final boss.
It's rad.
Yeah, and then presumably the dark shit that happened, like the dark 10-year or 8-year time skip that happens in that game, never happens. Yeah.
Yeah, and then there was episode Arden.
That one did come out.
That did come out.
But it
was just the first half.
Yeah.
Of what it was meant to come out. That came out in 2019.
And I think it's more of like a standalone game as well.
Yeah, because you play as Arden. It's a prequel.
Yeah.
But there was supposed to be like 2 episodes of Arden, and then there was going to be, I think, an episode for the chick that everybody wanted to play, Ariana.
Yeah. She was also, you could hang out with her during Prompto's DLC.
Yeah.
She was cool.
So yeah, the canceled ones, episode Araneda, Aranea rather.
Yeah.
So that was the planned one. There was an episode Luna Freya.
Don't really care for that one.
I would, because that character is given fucking nothing in the game.
You're right. I think someone timed it. She has 20 minutes of screen time before she dies.
Yeah. And then there was going to be an episode Noctis.
So there was going to be a ton of content that would have made the game feel like a more complete story.
Yeah, like more complete story, flesh out the world more, flesh out the characters more. Because FF15, I think, is not a great story, but it's lifted by the fact that all of its characters are extremely likable.
Yeah, but prior to like Noctis's like city being destroyed,
yeah,
he's like which is like pretty early on. It's
yeah.
like they're all friends. He's so nice to it. They're all like buddies.
Yeah,
they're like his 2 of them are his servants and one of them is his annoying friend. But it's like he likes them.
But they've basically grown up as like brothers and best friends. Like he doesn't treat them like servants.
Which is why if you go watch the anime Brotherhood, which is like short segments of
you get to see them grow from this is a person who works for me to this is like my
friend.
Best friend.
Yeah, or they also like the moments where they like hated each other or whatever. Yeah. So yeah.
But yeah, those characters and the way they interact is like makes FF15. Like it is the thing that makes that game good.
Yeah.
Other than the fact that also like the music's fantastic, like always, and like blah blah blah. Nice visuals at times. And I think that ending is quite good. Still,
I think it's a very beautiful ending.
Yeah.
But it's also like, what did it other than it killing, bad guy. And him being like the embodiment of chaos, like a chaos god.
Yeah.
the world still seemed pretty fucked. Like
the world of ruin. Yeah.
Like
I mean, Arden's not in charge anymore.
He was like hardly in. He was in charge when you like go away for like 10 years.
Yeah.
And you come out and it's like the whole world's fucked. There's demons everywhere constantly. Also, it's only nighttime.
Yeah.
You go kill Arden. I assume the sun comes up, but then now the world that they existed in is going to still be under constant threat from like the Magitech people.
No, because you deal with them in Chapter 13. You take their shit down.
You don't destroy all of it. It's still an entire nation.
Yeah, but but they don't. They're completely like leaderless and rudderless. Also, that's kind of the point of the Comrades MMO expansion.
I guess, yeah.
But yeah, it all works out.
Yeah.
The biggest part of the problem is taken care of. Now it's just the small problems left.
Yeah.
Which is still bad.
And the people who are left are powerful enough to also deal with it.
I think it's funny that every character gets like a time skip, change in their look, except for Cindy, who looks identical to how she looked 10 years prior.
Yeah. And she's also older than the rest of them already.
Yeah.
She's like in her mid-20s and they're all like 18. Well, probably the same age as like Gladio and Igneous.
Yeah.
Or Ignis, whatever the fuck his name is.
Yeah.
It's been like 5 years since I played this game.
Yeah. I think longer, actually.
Yeah.
For me. I played it on release, which was in 2016. So yeah, FF15's cool.
Yeah, and then we got Gundam Evolution.
Oh, Gundam Evolution. I mean, yeah,
it's just a 6v6 Gundam class-based shooter.
Not the first Gundam game. Won't be the last.
Yeah.
The TMNT Cowabunga collection, continuing the trend of Konami only re-releasing games at this point and not re-releasing their two biggest franchises that people want to play.
There was 13 games inside of this collection.
Yeah.
There's a lot. Some of these games were virtually unownable. Mm-hmm. Like, obviously, emulation. But
like, this isn't bad to have. I'm not, like, that complaining. But, like, Konami, I just want to point out, there is no way to play any Metal Gear game on consoles past the PS3 except for 5. Except for MGS5.
Yeah, because it was a PS4 game.
Yeah.
PS4 games run on the PS5.
So on PS4 or PS5 or on Xbox, or no, because you can play 2 and 3 HD because of Xbox 360 backwards compatibility on Xbox. But as far as PlayStation is concerned, you cannot play any of the fucking Metal Gear games on current gen hardware.
PlayStation always has that issue, though.
Yeah,
like with a lot of their products.
No,
it was the same with Yakuza forever.
So PS3 era, PlayStation 3 had complete backwards compatibility. So PlayStation 3 era, Sony was the best, and fucking 360 had shit backwards compatibility with the original Xbox. It was really buggy.
Well, it worked, though. It depends on which generation 360 you had. If you had the classic white one that had the Red Ring of Death issues, you could play Xbox games perfectly fine on it.
Yeah.
But once they put out the Black Elite Pro model, whatever the fuck, which then became the basic model that like I had to get because my original white one died like 3 times, and I think you had one as well.
Yep.
It couldn't. It ran them very poorly.
Yeah.
And then even some games just fully outright not working anymore.
Yeah. And the base PS3 could play PS1 and PS2 games. And the
PS2 could also play PS1 games.
Yeah, and the later PS3s could play PS1 and PS3 games, no PS2 games, because that's part of what made the PS3 originally very expensive. So if you have a PS3, you could play PS1 games on it, probably, and PS2 games on it only if you're an early adapter.
Yeah, you have an original PS.
Of course I do.
Right? Yeah. You also had an original PS4.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, but then the Xbox One had no backwards compatibility at launch, and then they gained it. They did, and then they've done an amazing job with backwards compatibility on current gen Xbox Ones and Xbox Series X and S's, to the point that you can play pretty much any game released on an Xbox console on the current the new ones.
Yeah.
Which is great.
That's why there was a bit of a resurgence with Skate 3 when that update came out.
Yeah.
Because people went back to it because you could only play it on the Xbox 360.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Anyway, put out the fucking games people want to play, Konami.
Yeah. Then we got Giga Bash.
Giga Bash,
which is a game
essentially
that
War of the Monsters, but it looks kind of worse.
This game, I swear, I saw friends play it back in the day because it was like an early access game.
Oh, really?
That but it was in early access for so long, and I think maybe Sony might have picked up the studio that was making it, like an indie grab or whatever, because I was like going through the news because it's on Steam as well. Yeah. And I was looking through the news of it, and there was like, game had like it's an early access beta that people used to be able to play.
Oh.
Or maybe there was another similar game that I'm also thinking of. But
it's also possible.
The game looks like something I have seen people play already.
And then before this one, I was like, they said the word Bizarre, and I was like, is this going to be JoJo? And it is. It's fucking JoJo's Bizarre Adventure All-Star Battle R.
Because it's a remake.
It's a remaster, I think.
Well,
I think
they're putting in 8 new characters as well.
They're putting in, I think actually more like 10. But yeah, like so
I was trying to think of like who the fuck it could be, and the funniest part
was
that
it
was
50
like
total characters.
They're probably, and I'm like, they'll probably add like Josuke. Josuke was in the game.
Yeah,
like part 8 Josuke.
No, yeah. I think they'll probably add.
And same with both like the 3 most combat ready characters from part 7, which is fucking Jiro, Johnny, and Funny Valentine are all already in the fucking game. So, and I'm just literally sitting
I think
there
they're
like,
gonna add.
I
think they're gonna add most of what we're gonna see is added is going to be not part 8. I was gonna say the characters that appeared in Eyes of Heaven that weren't in All-Star Battle. They're just going to get ported over because a lot of
Shigechi, I think you can in the thing. Shigechi is not in the original roster, but on that like flash screen they showed
with the silhouettes, you can kind of make them out.
No, there straight up was just Shigechi in the bottom corner. Also, Lisa was not in the original All-Star Battle.
Yeah,
and she is on the screen as well now.
So those two, I bet you, fucking CyberConnect 2 is still going to go out of their way to never make fucking Foo Fighters playable. Because Foo Fighters is not playable in Eyes of Heaven or All-Star Battle.
Yeah, I don't even think she has a model in Eyes of Heaven.
No, she's there. She's in one of the levels. You can talk to her.
Okay. Maybe Red Hot Chili Pepper. They'll add him in.
I think he's in there already.
Well, maybe that might have been the one guy I couldn't recognize.
Yeah, I think. That guy Akira. Because he's the. Red Hot Chili Pepper is the guy who like does the electricity, right?
Yeah.
He's definitely was already playable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would make sense. He's very. It was like the original. When I looked at the roster, though, I'm like, who the fuck else could they actually add? I don't think Metallica is.
I think they might add Joshu because again,
Joshu for sure.
One of like 5 characters from, or one of the 4 or 5 characters from Eyes of Heaven that aren't playable in All-Star Battle.
And but also one
it
of
means
the
some of the work's already.
One
done.
of the 4 or 5 characters that have like an actual proper attack type stand.
Yeah.
Because like. I went back and looked through a lot of them, and a lot of stands in Part 8 are like small stands that don't have physical, like don't have big forms. Like even like you can't put in Yasuho because Paisley Park is not an attack type stand. It literally has like on its wheel blank in every category. Like it can't develop, it can't change, it has no power, it has no speed. It's just. It is a physical, has a physical being, but it's for directions.
I think me and Ian, I think it's pretty clear we're both going to probably pick this game up, just like we both picked up fucking Eyes of Heaven.
Which was a mistake. The game sucks.
I think Eyes of Heaven is fun.
I think Eyes of Heaven is fine. I think it has a very shitty, like...
I don't think it's good. I don't think it's a good game, but it's fun. Like, CyberConnect 2 and these other fucking arena fighter games, like, most of them suck, and I will skip most of them. But the JoJo ones, I love JoJo. And they capture the aesthetic really well.
Yeah.
I think Eyes of Heaven is definitely, if you're a JoJo fan and you're like, which one should I buy?
What if they put in fucking... it's just Whole Horse. What if they put in fucking True Man's World?
That'd be sick.
It would be cool.
So if you're a big JoJo fan and you're like, which one of these two games can I pick up? I can only buy one JoJo game ever.
Star Battle.
I know. I would say Eyes of Heaven, because Eyes of Heaven has the story mode. It has like areas you can run around and open world explore at points.
I think that actually one of the funniest parts about Eyes of Heaven is that I played Eyes of Heaven before reading Part 7.
Yeah.
So I genuinely thought Funny Valentine wasn't a villain. Because he
shows up but you don't fight him.
You show up and you don't fight him, and both Jiro and Johnny don't react like how most people react when they see their titular villains or whatever. Not titular, because he's not the Steel Ball Run.
Yeah.
Everyone else goes like, "Fuck you, asshole!" They're like, "President Funny Valentine, what are you doing here?" And they're like, "Remember the gun I gave you?" And then they show that it has the same. It worked. The time travel thing works the same as D4C.
Yeah. It's like a whole thing. Yeah, I think it's you don't fight Funny Valentine, but he does the same thing that he does at the end of that run, which is he summons a version of Dio that has the world.
Yeah. Or it was like they kill the version of Dio that Dio becomes and has his bracelet, and they give it to Jotaro at the end, and he punches Dio's arm with it, and it blows off his arm.
Yeah.
And then it is the exact same scene from Part 3 with how he kills him.
Yeah.
Where he punches him,
but again,
shatters.
it's the Dio gone to heaven that Part 6 was trying to that our boy was trying to create in Part 6. Right. Eyes of Heaven, I think, is more fun as a JoJo fan, but All-Star Battle is a slightly better game mechanically. It's still really rough because it's not the Capcom fighting game from the 90s, which is what I thought this was going to be when they said Bizarre. I was like, oh,
that one actually would deserve like a remake.
Yeah, because that game's an actual good fighting game.
And then there is
also that's where that's where the road roller thing.
That's also one where we're actually missing a bunch of characters from.
Yeah,
because that one
it's basically a Part 3 fighing game.
Is Jolene not in it?
No.
Because Jolene started in like 2001 or something.
2003, I think.
And yeah, and Part 5 would have just been ending.
Yeah.
Because Part 5 ends in 99. No, 2001.
Part 5 takes place in 2001, but I think it's like started a few years before.
Yeah, it starts a few years before, and generally it goes a few years after. I think Part 8 is the only one where it like... Actually, Part 8 started like 2011 or something.
Part 8 starts and takes place in 2011.
Yeah.
Whereas like...
which is why they have like... Except also it's a little more forward, because in 2011, that's you can go back and watch anime from there, and there's still people who are actively using like flip phones and stuff, where in the West, where we live, flip phones were dead in like 2009.
Yeah.
We were all getting like iPhones and Samsungs and Androids and shit. But now, like, in Japan, now it's more common for everyone to have like actual smartphones. And now it's a joke when this character shows up. Yeah. Like in Komi Can't Communicate,
there's somebody with a flip phone.
Komi has one because she never needed a phone before because she couldn't talk to people.
Right.
So that when she gets really excited that she has a phone, and she goes around and showing people like a little kid. Yeah. She's like, "Look, I got a phone," and everyone's just like, "What's that old flip phone for?"
Nice. What was I going to say? Also Part 6 technically takes place in 2011, even though it's from early 2000s.
Yeah.
It's so funny that when that started, it took place roughly 10 years in the future, and then the anime started, and it took place roughly 10 years in the past.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, the next chunk of the anime, I think, is going to come out next month.
Do you think they're going to finish it with that chunk?
No,
or
I think it's going to be 3 chunks.
You think it's going to be 3 chunks?
Because like
36 episodes?
3 times 12... Oh, it might be more than 3 chunks, actually.
Maybe 39, maybe just a bit extra.
Yeah, maybe the third chunk will be a little bit longer. Because Part 5 and Part 6 are the same length in chapters.
But Part 5 had
it was like 30-something episodes.
Yeah, but I think like Part 5 will probably still... Actually, you know what? Probably won't. Part 7 should have the longest one.
Part 7...
It doesn't have as many chapters, but it was also monthly, so like... One chapter
is longer.
Is like worthy of being one episode.
In terms of number of volumes, which I think would be the kicker.
Yeah.
Still Part 4 the longest.
I know part 4 is the longest.
Part 8 is the longest.
Oh yeah, part 8 is the longest. It's been going on for like over 10 years now.
Yeah, it took 10 years to finish.
And it's like 200 chapters.
It's a large number of volumes.
Yeah.
But yeah, part 4 is the second longest in terms of number of volumes. And then I think part 7... I think part 7...
Part 7 only has
part 7 might be around the same length as 5 and 6. Because it's significantly less chapters, but they're longer.
Yeah, it was
so
because
maybe it's about the same length.
10 chapters or something into it, that's when he started going monthly.
Yeah. And then, of course, part 1 is the shortest because it's like 4 volumes or something, 3 or 4 volumes. And then part 2... No, I think, part 2 is only 1 volume longer than part 1. But then part 3 is fucking way too long. And it's annoying. Anyway, so after JoJo, we saw more of Trek to Yomi, which looks pretty neat. It's like a side-scroller, black and white samurai magic action game. Looks pretty cool. Then they announced there was going to be a new free update to Returnal, which
co-op
adds co-op and a new area, which I think is like a...
I think it's an endless tower.
Yeah, an endless tower type deal.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. There we are.
Yeah, it would be for people who know other roguelikes.
Bloody Palace.
Yeah, Bloody Palace. But for like in Binding of Isaac, there's a mode called Greed Mode, where the entire floor happens in one room, and then there's like a shop, and you can get like 2 rewards on the floor.
Nice. Then Square Enix pulled out its 2 big announcements. What were they? Oh, are we going to see something about Final Fantasy 15 or 7 Remake
you mean
Part
16?
2 or 16? 15. Fuck. Final Fantasy 16 Remake Part 2. No, we got the Diofield Chronicle, which is a new tactical sort of real time.
I know Sony has no presence at E3 anymore.
Yeah,
but they definitely would save those for like the state of play they usually have around E3. Because it's like, you can't just let Microsoft dominate the news cycle for that long.
So Diofield Chronicle is a tactical RPG by Square Enix. I know what you're thinking. Didn't Triangle Strategy just come out? Yes, they're putting out 2 in 1 year.
And this one is
3D graphics, not
grid based either.
It's not grid based. It's more XCOM style.
I don't ever played XCOM.
Distance based, and I think there's a real time element to it, so it makes it closer to how the TRPG stuff from 13 Sentinels plays, which does intrigue me because 13 Sentinels is the best game of 2020. So yeah, also it's coming to Switch soon. Buy it if you don't have a PS4 and haven't played it on PS4. But yeah, it's so it looks neat. Diofield Chronicle again, and it had some really gorgeous key art. Love that. This looks more Fire Emblem-y than Triangle Strategy was, which Triangle Strategy seemed like it was going for more of a Final Fantasy Tactics vibe. Although I don't know about this game, but at least Triangle Strategy. The strategy of Triangle Strategy is that it doesn't have permadeath, so you are actually supposed to go ham and like let your characters die in battle to like do the most strategic shit. Yeah. Which is cool. And the next thing they announced was Valkyria Elysium, which is the follow-up to the Valkyrie Profile franchise, which has not seen a new game in a long time. And this game, again, gorgeous, beautiful key art. But God, does this game look fucking rough for a game that's coming out this year.
I'm looking at the gameplay. I thought you were actually about to say this looks good before you said
the key art is gorgeous. It's so beautiful, the art.
I think it has the problem that I always talk about, which is anime-style games with hyper-realistic environments. Not hyper-realistic, but going for a more realism vibe.
Yeah.
And it's like, nah, man, be cartoony.
This game, it looks like it's really rough. Like, they don't know what art style they're going for. It's not going for a cel-shaded type thing.
Yeah.
But Yeah, it just looks ugly. The combat doesn't look very good. It doesn't look like it runs very good.
The combat looks like you should be fighting a bunch of enemies at once, but the most they show is you fighting
so basic.
Yeah, it looks like, honestly, the combat kind of seems like it's something I would expect in like a Dynasty Warriors game.
I think Dynasty Warriors looks better.
No. What I'm saying is that the moves they do seem unnecessary.
Yeah.
For fighting one enemy.
Yeah.
It's like it's like if you use the fucking crane style through all of Lost Judgment.
Yeah.
But also when you're fighting like one
bosses.
enemy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you're an idiot. Put that away. Get that out of there. It's a shit fight style.
Yeah, so I'm not super familiar with the Valkyrie Profile games, but I know they are beloved by JRPG lovers. And it sucks to see that this is not does not look up to snuff. I don't know why Square Enix is working on so many games at once right now.
Yeah.
It's super weird, and this looks really these two ones. Why even have a team working on the Diofield Chronicle when you could just have fucking allocated those resources to the HD 2D games? Because there's Live Alive remake, HD 2D remake is coming out soon. Triangle Strategy just came out. They announced the Dragon Quest III HD 2D remake ages ago. That's coming out sometime this year or next, right? Why even have Diofield Chronicle? Why not fucking do an HD 2D remake of Final Fantasy fucking Tactics? The game, especially with Triangle Strategy here, why not either scrap one or both and then make a Tactics re-release? Or just put more love into any of your other titles. I don't know. Fuck.
Yeah.
Also, show us some fucking Final Fantasy 16. It's been almost 2 years.
Yeah, and that game actually had gameplay. When they
that trailer had gameplay.
I'm sure it was a tech demo actually, because the enemy they were fighting was in just a circular area with a vague background.
I do think it's funny how many trailers we see Marlboro in. The plant thing with the big mouth and teeth. Recently, we've just seen it in a lot of Final Fantasy trailers, which I think is funny. But yeah, so
yeah,
Square Enix, most of their games tend to look interesting, but I don't think I'll buy either of these. It actually retroactively makes me want to buy Triangle Strategy, which I've only heard.
Strategy has an interesting look.
I've only heard good things about that game. I was oh, it seems kind of meh, and mostly people are this is great. This is a fucking awesome game. So I'm oh, that's sick.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, speaking of delusional, Rockstar has announced that their re-release of Grand Theft Auto 5 does not have any free upgrade option.
It's $12.50
right now. It's on sale.
Oh,
that is not the final price. That is not the final price.
Oh, I thought that was a price option for me because I own it on. I have it on PS4. Stupidly.
No,
I'm not buying it for a fourth time.
Yeah.
Also, I have no need.
I think you've already bought it a fourth time.
Me?
This is the fourth time. You said you pre-ordered it for $12.50.
No, I didn't.
Oh, I thought you did.
No, I said. Well, I was on the store yesterday, picking up the free games for March.
Oh.
And it said it was right there on the front. It said $12.50, and I'm oh, that's weird. But I guess it's an upgrade cost. But there's nothing new with the upgrade. It's just ray tracing.
Yeah. So they've announced that this game's so fucking old. This is a nearly 10-year-old game. This is a 2-generation-old game. This is it.
We are on its third generation.
It's on its. This is its third. Again, depending on who you are, this might be your fourth time buying the game if you buy it.
Yeah. Because I bought it for Xbox 360.
Yep.
I bought it for PS4 because the Heist update came out and it wasn't coming out on PC for 2 more months, and Chris wanted to play it, so I played it.
Yep.
And then I bought
the
it
PC
on
version.
I bought it on PC, which I have 500 hours in. Because you're not in you weren't in the Discord at the time, but
it was really popular.
GTA. Gavin has 3,000 or 4,000 hours in that game. And they talk shit on me for playing World of Warcraft sometimes.
At least World of Warcraft has fucking content in it.
GTA Online does have a lot of content now.
Yeah.
Like, I could see someone just thinking, like, if you would just open up GTA Online right now, you have so much content, it's overwhelming.
The only thing about
Because there's
GTA
such a
Online
grind
that
as well.
I'm interested in is like the no pixel thing, because I think the no pixel thing is cool. When
I think they
watch it.
should build that into whatever future GTA game they make.
Yeah,
Put
but
in,
that's
like-
that's a fan mod, so like it won't happen.
Yeah, no, but I feel like what they
Or
should,
GTA 6 is probably gonna have something like it, maybe.
that's what I'm saying. Not
Yeah.
in GTA 5, not in GTA Online or whatever. I think there should be a thing. One, in GTA Online 2 or GTA 6 Online, whatever they're gonna fucking call it,
Yeah,
or GTA Online, the Vice City expansion.
I hope 6 is Vice City,
Yeah, but the
or maybe make a new city.
what?
Maybe they could do something original.
Maybe make a new city. Maybe leave America.
I don't think I know. Like, oh well, technically the fucking expansion for the first game had London.
Actually, I wouldn't want Vice City because we've only had beautiful cities right now.
Yeah, New York,
Liberty City,
Los Angeles.
yeah, no,
and-
well, it's San Francisco, Los Angeles, it's California, and it's just an amalgamation of like the best places in California.
Well, it's if we're talking GTA 5, that's LA and like Palm Springs, I think.
No, San Francisco's in there as well.
Where?
You know what? It was in the original Santos.
Yeah, I was gonna say in
Yeah.
San Andreas,
Yeah.
which takes place in because there's even Las Vegas in there.
Yeah, and then for some reason that peninsula became a fucking island.
Yeah,
And you have a smaller map. I just would like a place that maybe we could have seasons again.
I think that'd be cool.
Maybe as you play throughout the game, like the seasons change. Like
Yeah.
GTA 4, you play through that entire game.
maybe do one
in
that's like
winter.
Chicago.
That would be interesting.
because Chicago gets winter. It's a pretty rough winter.
Yeah.
Um,
New York also does kind of get. a
Yeah,
little
but we've
rough.
seen-
It's not as
yeah.
windy because it's not the windy city.
yeah,
But like we already had Liberty City
Yeah.
in the winter. I would like to see it in just other seasons of the year.
yeah.
I would like a GTA game that it feels like I'm not just having a man's exciting month or 2 months. I want it to feel like
Multiple
I'm there
years.
for a year or two.
Well, and they did that kind of thing with Red Dead Redemption 2, so maybe they'll probably
And Red Dead Redemption 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe we'll see that for GTA 6. I don't know if I'll even buy GTA 6 because I was really dissatisfied with 5 personally.
I will because I like open world
Yeah.
crime games. I like GTA. I do like GTA 5. I think as time has gone on, I used to think GTA 5 was the best one.
Yeah.
But as time has gone on, I'm like GTA 5 isn't even better than like The Ballad of Gay Tony,
Yeah.
which is like probably the weakest of the GTA 4 stuff.
Yeah, The Lost and Damned is pretty good, and the main story for GTA 4 is quite good.
Yeah. And The Ballad of Gay Tony does what GTA 5 tries to do,
Yeah.
but successfully and in a shorter amount of time. Because I think both those expansions are only like 30 to 40 hour games.
I also want to point out San Andreas has a better story about like being a person of color involved with crime than GTA 5 does, and it's a game much older.
I think GTA 6 should do one female protagonist,
I think that'd be cool.
but I think it would be interesting if they did a character creator thing where they did like kind of like Dragon Age. No, not Dragon Age 2 because that wasn't really a character creator, but something where it's like your character has a voice. I don't want options. I don't want voice options. They work in some games. They work in a Cyberpunk. They work in Fallout. They work in Skyrim.
Yeah.
I don't want it in a game with like a linear story.
Yeah, I think like GTA should definitely try to avoid doing too much of the RPG shit, because RPG shit in open world games just it kind of exists to make them much longer.
The only thing I would want is do you know how like the game has like stats for your characters and stuff?
Yeah, I like that.
But I would like
Especially
that to
in
actually
San
have. San Andreas does it the best because it actually changes your character. It was like fucking Crackdown almost.
Yeah.
But like in GTA 5, it is negligible. It doesn't do much. Like you're shooting as soon as it's past like the
In
second
Red Dead
bar,
Redemption 2,
you're perfect.
In Red Dead Redemption 2, it's like it claims to be more implemented than it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in Red Dead Redemption 2, the game tells you if you eat too much, you can get fat, and if you run around more, you can get more skinny. Mm-hmm. The game does not actually let you get too fat or too skinny.
Unlike where San Andreas let you get too fat. And
yeah, you cannot really if you nonstop eat in that game, you will not actually gain that much weight. Mm-hmm. There might be one minor difference, but especially partway through the game, you can only get more and more skinny due to story reasons.
Yeah,
but it's weird. Red Dead Redemption 2, again, lots of poorly implemented thing. I'd love to see them implement that interestingly in GTA 6 because it was interesting in San Andreas, and also gave you reasons to play with mini games. I would rather just see a Bully 2 than a GTA 6 at this point because I like Bully more than GTA as a franchise.
I just think that Bully, because Rockstar is filled with a bunch of tone deaf people.
Yeah.
Bully 2 would just be horribly Bully 1 is this beautiful piece of satire.
Yeah.
Where also you're not the number one bully, you're a bully, but you don't have to be the biggest piece of shit in the world.
Right. But the entire point is
but fucking Rockstar would be it would put in something in Bully 2. It's here's the school shooter meter. If you bully one kid for too long, you might get the Columbine achievement.
Yikes. Yeah.
Or they would put it directly into a point in the story where you bully a kid so hard that he becomes a school shooter, but then they do a fucking mission where you take down the school shooter as the bully.
That would be funny though.
Kind of, but it would just be it's still, even though they're not happening as much because kids aren't in school right now.
COVID.
It still is very rough to do.
And also they're British people, and British people love talking about that shit.
Yeah. At least we don't have school shootings.
At least we don't let kids get guns.
Yeah, I think the funniest thing is a guy. There was a guy made where I'm sure you've seen it because it was everyone sent it around in their Discord. It was a guy who fucking it was just man, you guys drive on the other side of the road? That's so weird. And they used the horse dude from Bloodborne. It's at least we don't have fucking school shootings every week. And it's relax.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, anyways, I think Rockstar should... You know what I want out of a GTA 6?
What?
Less animation, more animation. And by that I mean I want the game to pass the circle test.
Yeah.
And if you're not familiar with the circle test is, an optimal video game is when you turn the left stick for movement in a complete circle and your character's right foot, if you're turning it to the right, their foot remains in almost the same spot. Because then it means you have full control over their movements.
Yeah.
But in GTA 5, if you do that, you do a fucking circle the size of this room.
Yeah.
The only way to pivot on your feet in that game optimally is to either play in first person, because then you get actually the movement I'm talking about.
Strafing, yeah.
Yeah. Or to aim with your gun, turn and look the other direction, and then you can actually start running that way. Because that's the only way to move without it being annoying.
Yeah, it's because GTA has that engine that has a lot more focus on momentum than you'd think.
Mm-hmm. Which is why brake boosting is a thing in the speedruns.
Yeah.
Or was it curb boosting?
I don't know.
There's some weird thing where curbs aren't they're not a collision, but they are considered there in the game.
Yeah.
And you can skip off of them. Gavin can explain it really well. Yeah. But you can skip off of them and it causes your vehicle to go faster than is necessary. It only works in the story though.
It's also in Cyberpunk.
Yeah, but Cyberpunk has some funny momentum stuff.
Yeah.
With the annihilation tree, when you go with shotguns,
yeah.
You can get a thing that's you do more damage the faster you're moving, but then you can also go into the reflex tree and make it so you can sprint while shoot while sprinting, and then you can get one that increases your movement speed up to 30% with every kill you get with a shotgun. So after one kill, it just goes boom, 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 boom. But that's amazing. That's what I want out of games
great.
Like that.
Yeah.
And actually, I was playing Cyberpunk 2 nights ago.
Yeah.
On Thursday night. I was there. It was me, Stevie, and Destiny on. Mm-hmm. And we started talking about Cyberpunk. We talked about like the problems with the game. I had to remind everyone that just because a game's been in development for 10 years doesn't mean it's the same game all those 10 years.
Yeah,
the Cyberpunk that came out was only worked on for like a year and a half.
Oh, it was longer than that. I think it had about they'd thrown out pretty much everything about 3 years prior.
Yeah, but still, it's like that's
yeah.
You throw out everything. You're not getting like truly working on the game for quite a while after that because you got to like rebuild stuff in the engine and shit. But yeah, it's just like, and then the problems with the game. But then I was like doing Pan Am's missions.
Yeah,
and I just remembered. I'm like, oh yeah. This game's so boring sometimes. It's like, she's like going like freaking out. She's like, fuck, Mitch, Scorpion, they're gonna die. They don't know. They think they're helping people right now. And then I'm just sitting there. It's like, yep. Can we start driving? Can we get there? Can I play the game? And then it's like, go in the drone and scan it overhead. And I'm like, go fuck yourself, man. Just let me play.
Yeah.
Like, let me go in and fucking experience the game. It's so scripted.
At parts, yeah.
Which is also what I would like out of GTA, is to bring back. If you haven't, go watch Nakey Jakey's Rockstar's game design video is outdated.
Yep.
Because I want them to be like, go do this thing, but don't put me in an area. Say you have an objective to complete here,
and let me solve it.
Let me figure it out. Like
which is what, in case you don't know, that's basically like making all your levels tiny Hitman levels, which is more interesting.
Yeah,
right? People love Hitman.
There's a really good one. The only example in it in GTA 5 is a thing that everyone tries to do, but then the game kind of makes it feel like you can't do it. You just have to be really precise.
Yeah.
So did you play all of GTA 5?
I did.
This is like one of the first Franklin missions, actually.
Okay.
It's the one where you go to repo the bike from that guy, and you like have that big shootout down like that just like alleyway with the Latino gangsters and shit. And then the guy pulls up at the end on the bike, and you can try and shoot him, but you're probably gonna miss. But you can hit him and skip like the second half of the mission.
That's cool.
And it's intentional that it's in the game, and the game should do more stuff like that.
Yeah.
But some people just don't even try to shoot him because they go like, oh, I've played GTA 4.
Yeah.
I know I have to go chase him. There's like a bunch of missions in GTA 4 where it's like you have to chase down this guy and like constantly shoot out his like back tire or whatever. But there's a point where he just becomes invincible because he has to get to the trigger to a point for the next cutscene.
Set the next thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that happens in lots of games.
And then if you don't hit the trigger in time, they start like driving around the block near where the cutscene's going to start. So if you do kill him, he can very quickly just like put himself back on track.
Yeah.
It's like, give me missions that I can finish in one area. And then I don't have to like, or that I can fail and have to do longer, or I can do them shorter.
The Mafia 1 remake has shit kind of like that, where it's like everything needs to kind of hit the triggers. Yeah. But I think the game's better because it's like a good story game. Like it.
That is GTA's problem, is it doesn't have a great story.
Yeah. Well, and it used to. It sucks because it used to. 4, you can kind of forgive a lot of the problems with 4 because it tells a compelling story and the game is quite feature filled as well.
And the only problems with 4 are just like leaps in logic.
Yeah.
And it's like and also.
But Ian, depending on the choices you make in the missions, you get different apartments.
Yeah, you can get Playboy X. You should kill Playboy X and get his apartment.
Yeah.
Why would you kill Little Jacob ever?
Yeah.
Oh no, not Little Jacob. Little Jacob is always chill and off to the side. It's Dwayne. You can kill Dwayne, who is in prison, or you can kill Playboy X, who is a dickhead.
Yeah.
Actually, I was talking to someone about it one time. Playboy X and Franklin are kind of the same character.
I don't remember Playboy X that well.
Playboy X is a guy that gives you jobs. You meet him through Dwayne or whatever, and he's like he's like a new generational gangster and shit, where he doesn't really care about like the honor and the family and shit. He's just there to make money, so he like throws people around, and he takes Nico and just goes like, you're my buddy because you do jobs for me and I respect you for that.
Yeah.
And then you meet Dwayne, and Dwayne's like, Playboy X is like fucking everything up in the scene for himself. He's like a capitalist.
Yeah.
And you get like a call from both of them where Dwayne is like, I want you to kill, or no, Playboy X says, I want you to kill Dwayne. He's talking shit and he's ruining my reputation.
Yeah.
And then Dwayne calls you and says, Playboy X is ruining everything, the streets and all. You should get rid of him. Mm-hmm. And then if you go kill Playboy X, you get his apartment. You get like the jacket he wears. But if you kill Dwayne, you get like $10,000 in a piece of shit apartment that's in the middle of fucking nowhere. If you get Playboy X's, you get a hub
that's like
in the
really
center
close.
of the city.
Yeah.
It's like it's a no-brainer on who you should choose.
Facts.
And then if you choose to go for revenge, your girlfriend dies. But if you choose to go do the job, Roman dies. So you should go for revenge as well, because that girl breaks up with you.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of like, I think.
Oh, you mean the one that's the sister, right?
She's Packy's sister, yeah.
Yeah.
And there's also just like interesting fucking stories in GTA 4. Sure, we talked about it before. Cause we always just go back to how cool GTA 4 is now.
GTA 4 is cool.
Like the fucking
and like even
Saint
the
Michael?
plots, like despite the fact that like I think okay, hold on, I keep. San Andreas has a pretty good story, and I think Chinatown Wars has a good story. Although that one kind of gets overlooked a lot.
Vice City has a fun.
It has a fun story.
Scarface drug cartel story, because it also takes place in the perfect time. It's in the 80s in what is like a parody of Miami.
Yeah, and San Andreas takes place in.
It takes place
California in the 90s.
In the 90s, and it's like post
gangster rap era.
Yeah, well, I think it's like current gangster rap area, but when the gangster rap was starting to just become like hip hop, and hip hop was being very commercialized.
It's post death of Tupac, right?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Post like the original like the people who popularized hip hop around the country are dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think
Samuel L. Jackson plays a cop,
which is cool.
Ice Cube's in the game.
Yeah, like it's San Andreas is cool. I think San Andreas probably has the best story of all.
Two of your boys work for the DEA.
That's facts.
Trying to like take down the gang internally. Mm-hmm. Samuel L. Jackson plays a black cop who does nothing but antagonize you.
Yeah,
because he's the cop from Training Day.
Yeah.
Where he's like telling you about like how everyone around you is like a fucking sellout and they're just trying to take you down.
Yeah.
Which he was telling the truth.
Yeah, but I mean, he still sucks.
Yeah, he sucks, but that's the point. He's supposed to suck.
Yeah.
Everyone's supposed to suck. It's supposed to be unlike fucking Franklin in GTA 5, where it's like he says everyone sucks and he's correct. Everyone around him does suck. But it's like CJ is like comes back. And they're like, yo, CJ, everyone here is still really cool. And he's trying to believe that. But turns out everyone sucks.
Yeah. Well, and it's like one of those things where, it's about like... I think Franklin and CJ have similar plots. Like people who are just started by trying to get out of it. And then realize that like you can't make it outside of that. And then have to make it within it and realize it sucks within it too.
Also, the only reason why Franklin gets out of it is two reasons. One,
white people
hand it to him. Lester gives him it because the house was a good way to launder the money.
Yeah.
And then he tells you about the assassination jobs, which you save till the end of the game. So Franklin makes all of his money through stock trading via assassinations.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just, I don't know. CJ's just ends up with money but isn't happy. Mm-hmm. Franklin ends up with money given to him by white people, and then gets everything in life.
Franklin gets the best ending,
especially if you go into GTA Online stuff. Yeah, where he now is like he starts a proper business. Mm-hmm. That he does have to do some illegal shit for, but the girl he was like his ex that breaks up with him in the game, it's like 8 years later or something. GTA Online is
now because when it started
it changes depending on what missions you're doing.
At the start of GTA Online, it took place before GTA 5.
Yeah, that's why with the heist update, yeah, it's like actually it goes like the heist update in every original content. Put you before GTA Online.
Yeah.
Then the Lamar stuff happens somewhere in the story when Franklin is like making money and Lamar is just kind of fucking off.
Yeah.
And then it's like a bunch of vague shit. But then I think by the world-ending DLC or the other big heist stuff they did,
Yeah.
like the secondary heist DLC, that's after. Because you're working with Lester and stuff, and he's like full on like on his drugs, like just going crazy all the time now.
Yeah.
And then one of the final missions was like the San Perico heist or whatever.
Yeah.
There's a reference to the story. Because the thing is, you know how like Trevor kidnaps Medrosa's wife or something? Mm-hmm. He like falls in love with her and she falls in love with him, and they like have sex, and there's like a bunch of photos of him like fucking her.
Yeah.
And the joke is that their son hires you to go steal back these because this guy's blackmailing his father and he's trying to get in his father's good graces.
That's funny.
With the images. So he gets them and he's curious. He opens up and he sees a picture of his mother getting rawed by Trevor, and he fucking freaks out, says, "Can you please leave?" Pays you, of course, but then burns them in the fire, and you can see like this fucking like picture of like Trevor hitting it from the back and like her like craning her neck to like kiss him.
That's funny.
So it's like that's one that takes place post story.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I think there's one you never work with Michael online, but then you work with Franklin, and that's like 8 years later, where Franklin is like he got married, he has kids. It's a fun callback with like Lamar comes into the into the office. He's like, "What's up, my?" And then in the game he says, "My brother in Christ."
Yeah.
But and then in that he goes like, "My ethnically diverse brothers" or whatever. And then there's a moment where it looks like Chop is dying.
Oh.
But but then Lamar like goes over, he gets like real close. He's like, "Man, that dog's high as fuck." And then I think one of the final missions is that he redoes the
ass
haircut, but it's actually about he's like why Franklin's kids like Uncle Lamar more. It is really funny. It's like a good callback.
Yeah.
It's like actually a moment where it's like, oh man, this is actually like fun.
That ass haircut line became a big meme more recently, which I think is funny, but also especially because Japanese YouTubers not
saying the N-word.
The N-word's bad.
I think one of my favorite ones as well was when the English VTubers were playing through GTA Online.
Yeah.
And it was like the people in the chat were like, "Don't say it. Don't say it." They're like, "I'm not going to say it."
I'm not stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of us are from America.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that everyone's like, "No, she's my Japanese waifu."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Also, good portion are Canadian.
At least two.
At least two.
Yeah, Crony and Fauna.
No, Fauna's not Canadian.
I think she is.
No.
I think she is.
No, because Fauna
Who's the other one you think is Canadian? It's
Ina.
not Bay. It's not Bale or whatever the fuck her name is.
It's Ina.
It's Ina?
Yeah.
That makes sense. I think she called Cat Dinner Katie one time.
Yeah. Crony and Ina are both Canadian. But yeah, no, people thought Fauna was because she sang "Oh Canada," but she fucking missed a line that everyone would know.
Our home and native land. True patriots.
It's true patriot love.
True
so
patriot
she got
love.
"Oh Canada."
I legitimately my sister's had a birthday party last week.
Yeah,
like post podcast, I went over to my mom's house.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking about like war and shit or whatever, and it just came up, and I just straight up with no hesitation was like, I don't want to be anything but a Canadian.
Yeah,
I don't love Canada.
Yeah,
but I would rather die a Canadian than be known as a North United States person.
Yeah, I mean, like if there was a war about it.
Yeah, like if the United States.
I mean,
just
having
like time to go Ukraine, Canada.
I mean, having dual citizenship would be useful.
Yeah, but I would like dual citizenship and not just to become a citizen of another country.
Yeah.
I could go get dual citizenship very easily because my mother was born in England.
Yeah, I mean specifically dual citizenship of Canada and the States.
Yeah. Can you have more? You can have more than 2 citizenships, right?
Depends. Some countries you're only allowed to be citizens of one even.
Just go get like Canada, USA, England, and all I'm gonna fucking
and then pay taxes in all 3 countries.
Yeah, but just so I can vote. Actually, I definitely wouldn't want to be a citizen of the States. It would make it easier, but I don't think I'd want to.
I think it'd be all right because I like lower taxes. Everything's cheaper.
Well, everything's cheaper because their money's worth more.
Comparisonly, even with the fucking exchange rate, I could rent. It'd be cheaper to rent a fucking apartment in Los Angeles.
Okay, no, that's maybe
here,
but it's also cheaper to leave Ontario as well and go live somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Such
it
as,
depends on if I want to live in the fucking middle of nowhere.
Well, you can go live in Calgary.
Calgary is cheaper. It's still like they're still seeing in the larger cities everywhere rents and property costs getting high. But if I wanted to live in fucking who gives a fuck Manitoba, it would be extremely cheap.
Yeah, or
but I'd be living in fucking Manitoba.
Maritimes.
Yeah.
If there was a big enough city in the Maritimes, absolutely I'd go there.
Yeah, but then it would be expensive because it's a big enough city.
Yeah, I know. But it'd still be a cheap. When I was in Winnipeg.
Also, the weather sucks in the Maritimes.
Yeah, weather sucks anywhere that's not Southern Ontario.
Yeah,
Southern Ontario has a very moderate climate. When in December, when I had to drive to Winnipeg with my brother,
on the West Coast, the weather's pretty good.
What?
The West Coast weather's like consistently like all right in like Vancouver.
Except for in the summer when it's like forest fire season.
Right. Well, that doesn't reach Vancouver, does it?
It reaches everywhere around Vancouver, so it's very
does it?
Well, like I think it goes to like the border of whatever Vancouver's Mississauga is. Yeah. But anyways, just the world's a nightmare, guys.
Yeah, it sucks. Anyway, why expect me to pay again for GTA 5, a game that is old and everyone has it? Fuck off.
And also is one of the highest selling video games of all time.
Yeah, I think it's the most profitable. No, maybe Fortnite or Minecraft.
Fortnite or Minecraft definitely pass it, but like
it's one of them. It's top 3.
I think it was one of the first games to make $1 billion in sales.
Yeah,
which also came out like 4 years before Fortnite, so for sure.
The last piece of news that we're going to talk about this week, they announced the lineup for EVO 2022 now that Smash isn't allowed, and my God, there is so much anime here.
Yeah, this is mostly anime fighters.
We got Guilty Gear Strive, obviously.
We got Street Fighter 5 for one of the final years ever.
Yeah.
Well, because
we'll probably be the final.
Street Fighter 6 could be out next year. We've only had a teaser so far, but
that game's been in dev forever.
Fighting games usually are like announced and then out within the year.
Yeah. So Guilty Gear Strive is there.
Obviously, best one.
Yep.
MK11's still around because
why not?
At least Injustice isn't there.
Yep.
Tekken 7, of course, that's the only one I'm going to watch, to be honest.
You think so? Not even Guilty Gear?
I think Guilty Gear's top play is kind of, I'll probably watch a bit.
Yeah.
But Guilty Gear is like very, I love it. It's a great game.
Mm-hmm.
All the matches look the same.
That's fair.
Yeah.
KOF 15.
Which is weird.
Because it was one of those things where the game just came out.
It's one of those things where when Skullgirls first came out, wasn't allowed to be an EVO.
Yeah.
Because it had come out like
too recently.
It had to be like, it came out like 4 months before or something. But KOF 15 is literally...
Obviously, like since then, let's just say the rules have changed.
Yeah. World's changing.
Yep. Now here's one that is fucking hilarious.
Bro, what if the setups...
I was about to say... The chairs need to be toilets.
One player has to play on a toilet, the other one has to play on the edge of a bathtub.
No,
and the TV...
They bring out 2 porta potties on the stage.
They play on 2 20-inch... they play on one 20-inch laptop.
Yes.
That's has to be precariously...
It's on like a milk crate?
No, from like
in the sink.
They bring in the sink,
and it's like tilted.
So for people who don't know, because these are FGC memes, Melty Blood has never been on the main stage on EVO.
Melty Blood has never been on the main stage of anything.
Yeah, the joke is that you go to play any other anime fighter.
So the way it works,
Melty Blood players in the bathroom.
So the way it works, by the way, is like at fighting game things, especially like at this point 9 or 10 years ago, it was like you'd have your mainline fighting games. They'd be on the stage Street or on the Fighter, main floor.
Tekken,
Mortal Kombat.
That's like the main 3 that are always there.
Right, and those would be on the main stage and the main floor.
Used to be Smash as well.
And Smash. Main stage, main floor. And then it'd be like anime fighters would essentially have a hotel room rented out.
They would have a smaller conference room off to the side.
There was a conference room or a hotel room.
No, Melty Blood was in hotel rooms. But they would play
it would be the anime hotel room. The bedroom with the TV would have Guilty Gear or Blaze Blue. And then the fucking bathroom would have Melty Blood.
Melty Blood's always in the bathroom. That's the joke.
Yeah.
So
to the point that when they made the anime-only fighting game festival, there was a video put out where the Melty Blood players were playing in a porta potty at the Wendy's across the street from the venue, and they were like, guys, no, it's the anime fighting event. You're on the main stage. And the Melty Blood players were trying to play in the porta potty still, and it's like, no, you're allowed.
Just literally, I just want like a porta potty off to the side on the main stage. Because Evo does have some fun with stuff.
Yeah.
And I think especially like the Melty Blood guys.
They love those jokes too.
They love those jokes. They made the most dripless fighting game in the world. That's also my favorite fucking meme. The first DLC character they put out looks like a woman just doing it. She wears blue jeans, normal ass shoes, and a white ill-fitting t-shirt. And her red hair is just like in a ponytail. It looks like she's running to the grocery store because she forgot to buy fucking kale.
Yeah. So I want to see porta potties on the stage or toilet or the fucking TV in the sink.
Yeah, I'm not gonna watch Dragonball Fighters. Dragonball Fighters is, while it is a cool fighting game, and I wish other games would get the same treatment it got.
Yeah.
It is the most boring fighting game to watch. Well, I would rather watch Mortal Kombat.
That's because it's been like 5 years. Like I think when this game came out, when Dragon Ball Fighters Z came out, watching that game on Pro Play was so fucking cool.
But now everyone is like super amazing at it.
Yeah.
It's every character in that game is inherently a zoner.
Right. It's
either zoners or rushdowns.
It's at the point where the high level play has become very samey, and
you can get trapped in a combo that you just kind of have to stop. You might as well just like lift your hand off the fucking thing.
Yeah,
and let the dude melt away 80% of your health.
And that's the thing that basically happens with every fighting game now at the top level, or even most games. Like once a game's been out,
there's
for
games
5
that have
years,
options to get out. Yeah. Like Guilty Gear has the burst system. You get one free burst. You could roaming cancel out of things.
I mean, Fighters has options sometimes too. Like I think sometimes you can teleport out.
You can teleport out, but then also some moves just are faster than the teleport.
Yeah, so I think then like the Guilty Gear tribe, there might be people find some things that go around burst, especially with like if DLC characters come
there is people. I don't think anything goes around burst. What Guilty Gear fighters do is they try and bait out the burst.
Yeah.
Like if you dust somebody. Yeah. And they have the scene transition where you can like do a combo in the air. A lot of people start to like set up this big combo, but with
drop
the intention,
combo to
bait out the dust.
The dust. Yeah. Or bait the burst. Yeah. I think it, especially anime fighters, when they've been out long enough, like, yes, you do find like people have wrung out all of the possibilities of the game. Dragon Ball Fighter Z has been out for over 5 years at this point. Like, it's not bad that they've wrung out all the capabilities of this game.
It's just that this kind of happened early on in the lifespan of this one.
Yeah. Grand Blue Fantasy Versus. This is an interesting choice.
This was a weird one because this game's been out for like 3 years now,
but it never really got its chance to be at any event. Really,
yeah, I think they
just. COVID?
I think this is because of Smash. It got a place to go into.
I bet you that's the game that got added because of Smash. Either that or Skullgirls.
Skullgirls was there last year, and it was very popular. Skullgirls was there for the online Evo because Skullgirls is the only fighting games that has
it had rollback at launch.
It has rollback netcode, so I think it's just there because it was incredibly popular last year.
And in case you're like, wait, but isn't Skullgirls developer Lab Zero terrible? No. So what's actually happened? Mike Z and Lab Zero are basically gone. And Future Club, which is the developer that was made up of all the... No. Future Club was the developer that was created by all the people who left. And basically the people who own the Skullgirls IP basically fired Lab Zero and hired Future Club to work on the console versions of Skullgirls, while the other company, while the other devs work on the mobile version. And that's why I think... what's the girl with the umbrella's name? The new one. Parasol. So she was the first DLC fighter to be worked on by the new devs, which are actually the old devs, but at a new company that they've started called Future Club.
Are you sure it's still called Future Club?
I'm pretty sure.
Because I'm not seeing them under their names. It's Lab Zero Games for the developers of Skullgirls. It says Lab Zero Games, Reverge Labs, Hidden Variable Studios, and M2. I think it's the studio that... Does Alex Ahad still work for them? Because Alex Ahad is the original...
Future Club is proud to announce our partnership with Autumn Games and Hidden Variable to develop more content for the acclaimed 2D fighting game Skullgirls. Mm. We're developing new content alongside Hidden Variable for the second Encore Season Pass, including this new girl.
Yeah. Okay, Lab Zero Games used to be called Reverge.
Yeah.
And and Alex Ahad left. I guess Alex Ahad's just not doing anything now. Mm-hmm. Well, he's an artist. He's a freelance artist now.
Yeah, so Future Club ever since 2020.
Okay, that's good. They haven't updated it through Google then. Mm-hmm. And also, who gives a shit about Mike Z? All Mike Z did was make the game work.
Yep.
Alex Ahad was the one who put all the love into the game.
Yeah.
He's the lead character designer. He's the creative director. Like, he's
again, more power to Future Club, which decided to do, I think they also have a flat level studio, organization, so nobody's actually at the top, which is good because it lessens the ability to do abuse.
I think they call it co-op studios.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, because it's based off of the idea of co-ops.
Yeah.
Where it's no
Workers'
one's in
co-ops.
charge, but
yeah.
You put someone in charge of you're in charge of this, but you're not, and you
this
you
is your
direct
job.
people what to do, but you have no firing power.
Yeah.
Over anyone else. It works very well in small areas.
Smaller developers can do it. The developers of Dead Cells did the same thing.
Yeah, there's a ton of small indies that do it now, and it's that's a good idea for a 20-person team max. Once you start to get 50 people, it's maybe there should be a guy who has creative control over a lot of the stuff. And has can fire people pretty easily, but only within reason. You just have to have a good HR, good union dynamic.
Exactly.
You can have a boss. You just need a union.
Exactly.
Yeah.
With that, let's get into the weeks. I didn't do anything. Ian, you want to talk about Elden Ring Forever and I Want to Die?
I can also talk about The Batman.
Oh, right.
Okay, so Elden Ring, I finished it.
Good. Did you like it? Yes, no?
Yes.
Good.
I think it has a very weak, shitty opening.
I just said yes or no.
What?
I just said yes or no, buddy.
I think Elden Ring has a really shitty opening, to be honest. I think it's the biggest part when I was I'm so done. Are you getting a drink or going to the bathroom?
I'm getting a drink.
Can you fill me up?
Sure.
Thank you. Yeah, I know. You'll hear me. Elden Ring has a really shitty opening. I think the putting you against a super hard boss immediately and not telling you or showing you how to upgrade any of your weapons is a classic Dark Souls thing that's just actually super fucking annoying. Where in Dark Souls 1, 2, 3, Demon Souls, Bloodborne, you can find upgrade materials as you go through a linear path in the story, but because of the way Elden Ring works, the game is just hey, go figure it out where to find this stuff, and that makes the beginning horrible. So you go into the first major boss you fight in that game wrecks your shit because you can't do enough damage to him. Mm-hmm. You can kill him for sure, but it's going to take you 5 minutes to go through the entire fight. When Dark Souls fights, in my opinion, shouldn't last more than 3 minutes.
Yeah.
At max. And that's a multi-phase boss as well.
That's frustrating, and I'm sure that that's not fun. But you said once you get deep into that game,
I would towards the middle. Once I started to, after I beat the first demigod boss, which is Godric the Grafted, and you get his rune, the game really starts to open up. The areas are just really interesting to go to.
Did you use summons?
Not until the end of the game. But
that's actually cheating. And if you use summons, if you use really,
something, Nathan? I use the cheesiest summon as well.
Any game mechanic that's in the game is actually cheating. If it makes the game slightly easier, that's why you actually have to. Real gamers don't actually roll in Dark Souls. Mm-hmm. Don't use that because it makes the game too easy.
They don't block either. They just make sure they're walking away. They also don't run. They don't press the circle button at all.
Yeah.
They don't press L1 or the circle button. Unless they're power stancing, then they can use L1.
Yeah.
I did play around with a lot of builds. I went back and forth because you get a lot of items to rebuild your character in this one, and you just have to beat one of the major bosses, and you unlock the ability to switch up your stats whenever you want, provided you have this item. But I had 10 by the time the game was finished.
By the way, also I know I'm making fun of that, but I do stand by not using items in DMC unless you're on double Dante Must Die difficulty.
Yeah.
And I restart chapters when I die. I don't continue from checkpoint. Mm-hmm. But this because the levels are short and because I don't know.
Yeah.
It just feels right.
Mm-hmm. So with Elden Ring, it's just there's some bosses in that game that are not made to be fought alone. It's just virtually impossible to fight this, the ancient tree spirit. It's this big fucking we kept calling him a tree dragon or a tragon because he kind of looks like a dragon in a way, and it's so big, it's so fast, and it dives around. It has all these fucking moves, and it's just so hard to fight by yourself. It's a boss fight either made to melt away with magic or summon some wolves to help you out. So, but by the end of the game, I got really tired of a lot of the gimmicks the bosses kept putting off. So I started summoning the most OP summon in the game, the Mimic Tier. But it's part of the game. I don't like magic because I think magic actually takes away a lot of the game, especially with the new spell and the way you can bust the game even before fighting the first boss. But it's in the game, so you're within your rights. But summons, I think, still puts it on it's up to you to still beat a boss. And it's only the comedy.
I don't believe in.
Go on.
I don't believe that breaking the game is wrong.
Oh, I think breaking the game is hilarious. I think it's fun.
And I'm not going to tell you that you had a bad experience or the wrong experience with a Final Fantasy game if you fucking grind up to level 99 in the first area. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't do that personally because that sounds like it wouldn't be very fun. But if you're somebody who enjoys the fuck out of that and you just crushing the entire game, more fucking power to you, buddy.
Or in a Dragon, where once you get to Kamurocho for the last time, going towards the end, you can do what I did, and you can grind to level 99 with all of your characters by fighting that one guy that is super easy to kill if you have
certain
gunboy in your party.
Yeah,
because the guy, the way the enemy works, they drop big XP. They're mimics, I think, is what they're supposed to be.
Oh.
They're vagabonds or something. Well, that's their title in the game. But
the guys where they'll spawn when you open the thing, right?
No. Oh, wait, those are mimics, the trash bag people. No, it's the vagabonds, the dudes who are just dirty, but they only take 1 damage per. They're metal slimes from Dragon Quest.
Yes, those
and there's a guaranteed one you can find.
If you use the gun guy because certain moves each hit counts as separate hits.
Yeah, so normally you can only do 1 damage to these guys, and they have 20 health, and you have 1 full turn.
You get 1 or 2 rotations. Sometimes they don't run away.
Yeah, you have to destroy the enemy. When they're at lower health, it's a higher chance. So if you get them below half health, you have to kill them within the next turn, or else they're leaving. But you can walk into the fight with the guy who has the guns because he has a move called Rain of Bullets or something, and you can just instantly decimate him and kill it, and that guy drops 1 million XP, and you can do that and make the final part of
a dragon
a fucking joke.
Yeah, Like that final boss is really hard if you're the recommended level.
Yeah, and I kind of wish I was, but instead I just was like, this is a joke. I can fucking win.
I didn't mind bashing my head against him a few times. It wasn't that hard.
I just wish I had the opportunity to.
I need to go back to Lost Judgment. I'm just playing too many different games now.
Yeah.
And like, there's so much cool shit. But I need to finish that game because it's cool. A cool game.
Yeah.
I think the problem is I play a Yakuza game. I'm like, I'm going to do everything. And then I burn myself out on the game.
And especially since you can burn yourself out immediately in that one.
Yeah.
Because you did it with the school stuff.
Yeah.
Because I think the school stuff is fucking dog shit.
I think some of it's really fun.
I think the boxing one is fun. I think the skater one is a stupid distraction.
The skater one is the fun.
I think the biker Mario Kart one is all right until the end when it sucks.
Yeah.
Because then the final one you have to do to finish the sub-story is like an insanely hard
I don't
race.
think I beat it. I think I got to another thing where like you need to beat more other school shit to do it.
Yeah.
Or get further in the story or whatever.
I think dancing isn't a good replacement of karaoke.
But I like the dancing.
I think it's funny.
Fine.
Yeah, but then it's also very busted.
Yeah, it's fun. I had my fun with it.
Well, because you can just get like the 3 different styles, like the dancing styles, where it's just like they last for like 30 seconds. The songs are only 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And you get the ones where it's like, oh, you just get perfect button presses every single time.
Yeah. Any hit becomes a perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, and you just do that. Or any hit becomes perfect, or you just have, or it's like,
see, the problem is that that game is like kind of a piss easy rhythm game, so I didn't even need to use that. I was just getting perfects because I'm good at rhythm games.
I'm not, so I was using it.
I found it quite easy. Personally.
Well, I found it quite easy until I was on actual hard.
So you should play Hatsune Miku rhythm games. Yeah. Those games are fucking hard.
Have you ever seen? Yes, but just
hard, dude.
To finish up with Elden Ring.
Yeah,
I'm going to spoil the final 3 bosses. They all happen in a row. So the final boss is the first god, Godfrey. He is the king of the world. And you fight him, and he has a fucking wolf stand on his back. And I'm like, holy shit, is his second phase going to be like, the wolf stand comes out and starts fighting me? It is not, but I think it's still really cool.
Does he turn into a big wolf like Ganondorf?
No, there was another big wolf boss already. And it's actually really also cool. Okay. It's like the 4th final boss.
Okay, cool.
So when you get him halfway through his health, you get a cutscene where the wolf stand manifests, and he like kills it and absorbs its power, and his armor sheds away. He's just a shirtless man, and he tries to fucking kung fu the shit out of you.
Yeah.
He turns into a Tekken boss at the end. He turns into Geese Howard. It's so fucking actually cool.
I saw a post where it was like, you know, the broke, woke, extremely woke, or whatever. Like, you know, those types where it's reaction face, reaction face, reaction face.
Yeah.
The Vince McMahon one, maybe it was like the, you know, yeah. And so it was like boss that looks like a monster, big monster.
I got
and
this.
It was like, man,
boss that's the same size as me.
Boss that looks like a human. Boss that's a human, shirtless and unarmed.
Exactly, for sure. No, for real. That is the best. Like in Persona 5, when you're beating the shit out of the Prime Minister.
I actually hate that fucking boss fight.
I think it sucks, but I think it's so cool.
It's cool. The music's cool.
Especially in
the
Persona,
visual's cool.
Especially in Persona 5 Royal, sucks. Where it becomes a one-on-one fight instead.
Yeah. That fight's, I didn't get that far in Royal, but in the main game, that fight sucks.
In the main game, you get to keep your, like, everyone with you. In Persona 5 Royal, once he, like, rips off his, like, chains and it's just him, it's a 1v1 between you and him and Joker.
Yeah.
And, well, it's obviously, like, rebalanced so that it's possible.
Better for that, yeah.
Yeah, same with kind of, like, how the end of Yakuza 7 is.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen in Lost Judgment, I'm sorry. That wasn't, like, an actual slip-up.
Is there a one-on-one fight at the end of
No,
Lost Judgment?
but, like, how I guess, yeah, that would be... But, you know, having, like, R7...
Yeah.
You fuck... Or Y7. I tried to say...
RGG7?
Yeah, RGG7. Mm-hmm. You get in the fucking, like... You get in the fight with your brother. So...
Yeah.
Yeah. But then the next boss is like a god. Like it's Radagon the Elden Ring. He's like the guy who created it. He's like a man, or is it like gender ambiguous sort of thing? He's got like this weird hammer like that fucking glows. He throws like holy light at you. It's just a pretty cool fight. But then for some reason it's a second phase where he just turns into a giant ugly fucking blobby dragon. Blob boy. And it's, are you looking at it?
No, I'm looking at Twitter.
Okay. It's just fucking super boring, and it's like, wow, this is the final boss? Are you fucking serious?
Damn.
That's so shitty. And let me find a picture of it. And like I got to him and I'm like, I don't want to fight this guy, so I summoned for that guy. Yeah, this is the final boss of Elden Ring.
Oh, that's kind of lame looking.
Yeah, but let me get and then the other one.
No Final Fantasy final boss.
So, but then right before that, you fight Radagon of the Golden Order, who looks like this.
See, that's cool.
Yeah, it is so cool. And his fight is just like, you walk in, he's crucified by the Great Rune.
Damn.
And then you and he just comes at you like that. You're in like a black room, there's gold specks on the floor. When he swings his weapon, more of them show up. And then you beat him, and then he just turns into a sword, and you fight the Elden Beast. And it's like, well, that sucked. That's stupid. But yeah, overall, it's probably like an 8 out of 10. It's not. It's better than Dark Souls.
Does Elden? Okay,
but it's not better than any of the other ones.
I'm sure there's a fan theory of this. Does Elden Ring take place on the same planet as the other Dark Souls games?
No.
Not even the same like world. Not even a different continent on the same planet.
No, definitely not. It's the world the world in Dark Souls like 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Not Demon Souls, because I can't remember the lore for that one. Is that fire is the essence of life in that universe, where the only reason why life is continuing on is because there is a man named as the like soul. Well, there's the Soul of Cinder and there's Gwyn, Lord of Flame.
Yeah.
And they are both continuing on life by taking the fire inside of themselves and allowing them to become kindling for the fire. Mm-hmm. Fire in Elden Ring is bad. It's villainous. The reason why the whole purpose, I think it's really funny actually, in Dark Souls 1 and all the other games, the whole point of it is that you're going to get the fire to continue it burning, and the obvious bad ending is the one when you stamp out the fire and you lead to the Age of Darkness. But in Elden Ring, they're like, here's the great tree. Here is the Erd tree. It is a source of all life. It is the only thing that's keeping us going. And we need to destroy it. Oh. Every ending you get is you destroy the fucking tree.
Damn.
It just matters who you destroy it for. So there's 3 endings where there is the Frenzied Lord of Flame, which I believe you just light the tree on fire, and I think it kind of might lead into Dark Souls.
Okay.
That could be a fan theory one. That's the ending Chris got. He said it was the worst. Then there is the Lord of Stars ending.
Yeah.
Where there is a demigod in the world named Rani. And she is like a witch. And her thing is that she wants to start the age of the Erd tree, the age of flame or whatever, is over. It's time for the age of the stars. And it's this really like beautiful ending of like the stars coming back. Because there's actually a boss in the game named Star Scourge Radon.
Yeah.
He's one of the demigods in the world. After you beat him, it turns to night and shooting stars just blaze across the sky. Damn. Because him by himself was holding back the universe. And he has a really cool but annoying boss fight where like you run towards him from like really far away and he fires these like arrows that can one-shot you. It's so frustrating.
Yeah.
There's stuff you can hide behind, but like
the last Colossus in Shadow of the Colossus.
Yeah, I don't know.
He shoots at you.
As you fucking as you run up, there's summon signs all over the battlefield, and you're supposed to run through and summon people to help you fight the boss. So you can get like 10 people helping you beat the shit out of this guy.
That's fucking awesome.
It's like it's a siege boss.
That's cool.
It is really cool, and I think it was a really fun. It was fun but frustrating because it's such a long run up, and they let you use your horse to speed it up, but
being on your horse makes you an easy target.
Yeah, it makes you vulnerable because you don't get iframes when you like dash forward on your horse or when you're jumping. The only iframes you get on your horse is when you're getting off your horse and when you're getting on your horse. And also, you can't summon from on top of your horse, so you have to get off anyways. Yeah, so it's just a cool fight.
That's cool.
It's very pretty. I'll probably go back and through it and just blaze through the game using Mimic Tier and just fucking cheesing everything just so I can get the next 2 endings. Because I'm only missing 4 achievements. 3 achievements now. I have to get all the legendary armaments, which I missed 1, and I missed 2 in the story because 1 is fully missable and the other one glitched out on me. And then that means it's technically missable now. So I can get those 2 really easily. And then I have to get the 2 other endings. And then I'll have the platinum for that game.
Nice.
So it's a good enough game that I'll platinum it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
So you truly did nothing else this week. How's your Tony Hawk speedruns?
I've been playing a lot of Tony Hawk's American Wasteland. I'm not actually speedrunning it because I'm not timing it. Also, I'm 100%ing it.
Oh, okay. Do you think you're going to, after you know, all the perfect routing and stuff, you might go
I don't know. I'll definitely probably stream it at some point just for funsies.
Are you learning, are you learning speedrunning tactics, or are you just beating the game
fast? Just beating the game fast.
Okay. You know what I fucking hate about Tony Hawk, actually?
What?
Especially American Wasteland?
What?
The catch-up mechanic.
Yeah.
How whenever you're doing a 1v1, that guy you have to skate against to get your board back, you get your shit back or whatever, you can just not do anything the whole time and he'll only slightly be ahead of you and then land a fucking pogo.
Yeah.
Just literally sit there the whole fucking time.
I do it just because it's boring not to, and it takes the exact same amount of time.
Yeah. It's just that for speedruns, they were this is just a funny thing about the game, so normally they just don't play it.
Yeah.
Or they just keep themselves going in one super long combo and not landing it. So they just
which
go
makes
for a full
him
minute.
get his combo up really high.
After you land the combo.
He will match your combo. The way you can lose is if you keep doing big combos and bailing, he will catch up to your combo in progress.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And that's true about the manual fights as well. But the thing with American Wasteland that you need to know is if you are speedrunning that game, you play it on easy. Not just because it makes the game easier, but because one of the main differences between the playthroughs is that
there is challenges that get longer.
And also the progress gates with money
are higher.
Yeah. Which is dumb.
And then there's little things.
So when you work through that game, there are a bunch of money-based progress gates. Whenever you get to a new location, whatever pathing makes it the best for you, you are going to want to do 3 of the 3 graffiti missions in that area once you get there, because that unlocks that thing. And later there is a progress gate where you cannot proceed unless you have all 4 styles of graffiti.
Yeah. And you also need a ton of money for the alien suit.
It's $150. If you do all of the graffitis in every area as you unlock it, you'll have more than enough. Because you also get money by winning the Am Jam.
Yeah, okay. So the only thing you need money for in the game is
alien suit. And there's 3 or 4 progress blockers.
And the spider the spider tattoo. So you can join the game.
And the spider tattoo. Yeah, so there's the alien suit, the spider tattoo. You have to buy the dino head. You have to pay you have to pay $50 to enter the Am Jam. And you have to pay to use the boat to get to the oil rig.
Yeah. It's just that's
to enter the Am Jam. You also have to essentially do I think 8 sponsor challenges at skate shops, which the game forces you to do 1. So you want to do all 4 on that one, and then you want to do 4 on another one.
Oh, they're also the sponsor challenges are easier depending on your difficulty.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, so the first ones you get are just do a
grind
fucking
for
ollie.
a second.
Yeah, grind for a second, do an ollie. Stuff that was in Thug 1 and Thug 2 was just there as challenges to bring your shit up. Mm-hmm. But now they are you have to go get them, which sucks.
Yeah.
Or you have to just look at the board, and then once you do, you unlock the ability to do them.
Also, I fucking hate what's that guy's name? Stevie Williams?
the black guy you meet like at the beginning of the game?
No, at the end of the game.
The end of the game.
He's like one of the pros, but he is black.
Yeah, I know.
But his mission makes you do nollies.
Stupid.
Yeah,
nollies are dumb.
And so I emulate the game with Dolphin, which means it's based on the GameCube version. Now, if you remember, the GameCube controller, it had fewer buttons than a PS2 controller, and so nollie on GameCube is right stick up twice and then jump.
Yeah.
Which fucking I cannot stand.
Which is also weird because
there's no L1.
Boneless, it's left stick up twice.
Yeah. There's no L1. Because L1 and L2 and like on the PS2 controller, which is clearly what like a lot of the movesets for Tony Hawk are based on.
Yeah.
Like R1 and L1 together was get off the board, but just hitting R1 would spin you to the right, and just hitting L1 would spin you to the left, and then hitting L2 would do certain things, and R2 would switch your stance and shit. Like there was enough buttons. Also, like you can click the sticks in on the PS2, and that counts as an input. Whereas on GameCube, you can't.
Clicking the stick in was just like the sticks deeper in there now.
No, the GameCube just didn't have that as an input. You can't
it's not an input, but your stick could.
Oh, you could break your stick. Yeah.
No, it wouldn't break. It was just like it would go in or it would go out.
And you could pull it. You'd have to pull it back out. Though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was still usable when it was in, and most people's controllers were in. It's just that you had you had, I think, less of a dead zone when it was pulled out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, so that's an annoying thing about that. But I'll probably stream it at some point. I'm not going for any record or even much of a time.
It's so weird. I can play anything on like Steam using a PS5 controller.
Yeah.
And like my brain comprehends, it's like that's where B is, that's where Y is, that's where all the other stuff is. But as soon as I play with like a GameCube, like on Dolphin, and I try and use my PS5 controller, I'm like, I have no idea where anything is anymore.
I only get the B and X mixed up, the square and circle.
Yeah, I literally I go downstairs and grab a GameCube controller with my GameCube adapter when I want to play Dolphin. Like off of my Switch.
I had a fake like GameCube USB controller somewhere.
Yeah.
Just I don't use it. It had a short USB cord, so it wasn't really useful.
Yeah, well, just get like an extender then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the input lag, Ian.
Yes, the input lag. You play on a TV. It already has input lag.
Yeah.
I'm so tired of input lag. I just want to play everything on a monitor.
The game mode on my TV has very low latency, actually. But
that's good. So I went, unfortunately, without Nathan.
Yep. To see the Batman.
The Batman.
Starring Robert Pattinson.
And the hottest woman in the world.
Zoe Kravitz.
I think one, reviewers are being a bit too kind to this movie.
Yeah. It's
not nearly as bad as like Holly was saying.
Mm-hmm.
There is nitpicks, there is issues. I think the best way I could put it is this world. It has really good world building, not a lot of heart. Like characters don't interact in ways that I find very satisfying. I think there's like one heartfelt moment with Alfred, and that's about it. I think everything else just kind of happens. It's not bad acting or anything. It's
so him and Catwoman like not like
it's all right. Catwoman wants to fuck him a lot more than he wants to fuck her. Honestly,
classic.
Like I said this to Holly when we were talking about it. I'm like, I genuinely believe this version of Batman could be a virgin.
Yeah, because he's young enough to be.
He's like in his like mid to early to mid 20s in this for sure. This is his year 2. He is literally keeping a journal at the start of the movie, and it says like year 2, month 8 or something.
Nice.
So it's very early on. He has like a relationship with Jim Gordon, but the cops don't like him because this is the thing. This is the one positive I would say in the whole movie. You said this earlier on when we saw the first trailer.
Yeah.
That the way he beats on people is very fashy.
Yeah.
He looks very fascist and all that.
Yeah.
But I think this movie is about him being a stupid kid who thinks that beating up criminals is the best way to go about things. And as the movie plays out,
he learns his lesson.
He learns that vengeance isn't what he should be, and that hope is a better message to bring to people. Honestly, that turned around the movie for me.
Oh my god. Okay, yeah, now I want to watch it.
Yeah, see, you should.
I was like, I guess I'll never fucking see it. Because Ian saw it without me, and I'm like, I'm not going to go to the Batman by myself. Like, it's not something I'm that passionate
It does
about.
take a while to get there, and there is like a setup for a sequel.
Yeah,
which I think I thought actually one of the more fun... So, you know... in the scene when he beats up like the Joker's boys or whatever, because clearly the Joker has existed in this world already.
Yeah,
because they're the guys dressing up as him and like idolizing him. There's a young kid there that he doesn't beat up because he doesn't fight him, so he is a defensive Batman.
Yeah,
he's like, if the kid's like not throwing a punch, he sits there and he goes like, okay, see ya. But then I was like, what if that kid was like Jason Todd?
So from what I heard about this film, I've heard two things that are mild spoilers. So spoiler alert for the movie, but these could be wrong. So there's one thing that we talked about last night, which is that at the end of the feature film, Barry Keoghan, who is from movies like The Eternals and Killing of a Sacred Deer and Dunkirk, shows up as the Joker.
As a silhouette, though. It's like you can you pretty much like as soon as he starts speaking, it's like, oh fuck, are you serious already with this shit?
Yeah.
And then he does a laugh. His laugh isn't bad, but it's still the same thing with Paul Dano.
Yeah.
They're definitely going with like Batman is not a realistic person in the world.
Yeah.
But he is and his serial kill, but like his villains are all like serial killers.
Yeah.
That they're not just like guys who are like criminal masterminds. Like it's just they just seem like they're all a bunch of crazy weirdos, but they're crazy because they think they're being like justified in their own thing.
Yeah.
But I'm sure the Joker will show up in the next one and just be like, I'm a murderer.
Yeah.
I just kill people, or I kill people that just happen to be rich.
Or whatever, yeah.
Yeah, like it's going to be one of those like, oh, what a socialist, woke, Marxist king. And then they go like, but I just murder for fun. And it's like, oh, never mind, now he's a bad guy.
The other thing is that there was a Robin hint, apparently.
There's a kid. Like, so there's two mayors in this movie.
Two mayors?
They're in a mayoral race.
Oh, okay.
The mayor gets murdered at the start of the movie. That's like his first victim. His name is Mitchell something.
Okay.
Or is Mayor Mitchell? I think it was William Mitchell or something.
Okay.
But then the mayor who replaces him is not like a mayor from the comics. They replace him with a black woman named Bella Real.
Okay.
But it's spelled fucking real. There's no apostrophe. So I'm like, oh, her name's Bella Real. And then at the end of the movie, it's like, yeah, Bella Real. And I'm like, go fuck yourself, man. Don't stop making me look like a white guy.
He does it to himself, folks.
I do it to myself. But like, yeah, she's new character created just for the movie. Mm-hmm. I googled that to double check. Yeah, the mayor's son.
Yeah,
Batman sees him at the scene of the crime after his father's been murdered, and that's like the only callback to his parents being murdered.
Okay, now I'm interested to see the feature film.
Yeah,
or maybe I'll go sometime this week or on the weekend. Or Blake didn't see it. Well, but Blake can't.
Blake's gone for like
fuck it. I'll just go by myself at some point.
Oh, if you go on like a Tuesday, maybe I'll go again.
Okay.
Honestly, I will.
Let's have a boy date. We'll do a Tuesday boy date.
Let's do a Tuesday boy date. Cheap movie night.
Yeah. Why not? I'll pay either way. Okay.
You don't
I
have
got
to.
you, baby.
You're
I'll
buy.
unemployed.
I'll buy.
I love you.
I'll get food. You get the tickets.
I'll get the whatever. Fuck you.
I
love you. I'm a rich government worker, and you're fucking unemployed.
I'm a pogey.
You're a poor little boy.
Yeah. So, I think Zoe Kravitz.
Hot.
I think her Catwoman is amazing.
Yeah.
I think they make one mistake with her character.
Some of the clips that I've seen of her, I'm like, oh yeah, I buy her as Selena Kyle more so than Anne Hathaway, who I do not buy as a person who's ever been poor.
Yeah. Anne Hathaway also, like, when Selena Kyle dresses up to like look hot, like or to like entrap someone, she's dressing up like a lady of the night, a fun stripper sort of thing going on. When Anne Hathaway dresses up,
well, like
she dresses up to look like a classy lady, and it's like you want a woman who can do both.
That's exactly what
Anne Hathaway, like the Dark Knight Batman, like Nolan's Batman, is so enthralled with it being like they're all high society people. Where even though Catwoman is a thief who comes from like the poor parts of Gotham, she is still like, I got a nice fucking necklace on. I got this like this like high cut dress that makes me look like really fucking like royal. She puts her hair in like a tight bun. She put like a very fancy updo. Her makeup's done like perfectly at all times. It's like, shut up. Although I love that when he takes off his fucking helmet for the first time, they don't be like, oh no, Batman's not wearing eye makeup.
In this movie he's wearing eye makeup.
I think Andy Serkis does a good job as Alfred.
He doesn't seem like the best casting for Alfred, to be honest. He isn't. But like I think like Jeremy Irons, I think was good
the little
casting.
bit we get of him in BVS
and in Justice League
is amazing. He's very good at being Alfred. Andy Serkis is just all right. But because I'm super used to Andy Serkis now, like, because he's not a man whose face shows up on screen a lot. Well, it technically does. But like he was Gollum, right? He was Gollum. He's the monkeys in fucking Planet of the Apes. The first time I ever saw his face on screen for me was Iron Man 2.
You mean Avengers 2?
Avengers 2, yes. Thank you. And then in Black Panther when he dies. It's like but that to me is because like that's my only reference for the character. I'm used to seeing him as like a South African drug lord, diamond lord, and not like a British man going like, oh hello young Master Bruce.
I think he is just a generally gruffer guy than you're used to seeing Alfred as.
He is a very good Alfred for this version of Bruce Wayne, though. He's very terse with him. He doesn't do.
Do you know who's a great Alfred? And I'll stand by this. Is they got one of the old Doctor Who's to be Alfred in Gotham, and I think he's quite good.
The guy who used to wear a lot of scarves.
I think it was him.
I was taking a guess.
But
he's very good for this version of Bruce Wayne because this version of Bruce Wayne is like a fucking petulant child. And he is like his stern hand on the wheel. And they also get it right out of the way. It's like in the first scene he's in with Alfred. He goes like, "You're not my father, Alfred." And I'm like, "Thank you. It's out of the way now." Because it always feels like that's something that comes up like a lot later. Where like Alfred's just being like I'm trying to take care of you, and he's like, "You're not family, dickhead." It's like, all right, relax.
I only like it when it's the opposite.
Well,
I am personally.
I am just saying that scene happens earlier in the movie. We could turn around, something else could happen.
Yes, the thing I like it when Batman admits it is. My parents have been dead so long, Alfred. You are the closest thing to a father that I have, and I appreciate you more than I have ever said. That is the relationship I like.
How often is it that set like? Because they've done a couple of reboots recently. When did they decide that Batman was trained by the League of Shadows?
That was in the Nolan movie.
Just the Nolan movies?
I think the Nolan there's. I think sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. He at least went to Nanda Parbat. He did go to. I think he met some members of the Shadows, but he didn't necessarily train with them. He trained with a bunch of people over the decades, or over the decade-ish. Because he's 25 when he becomes Batman in the comics.
In this one, it's just straight up said that he was trained by Alfred,
and that's it.
That's what they imply. Is that Alfred is the one who taught him how to fight.
Damn.
And they do make early references to
him leaving.
What?
Him leaving town to train, or no?
No, I believe Alfred literally just trained him. He seems like a homebody. Like that's why I made the virgin comment, and I feel like he literally from all he did from the age when he was a child to growing up was decide he wanted to be Batman. And so he fucking goes through and he just trains his whole life. And that's why when like there's like legitimate like moments with like Catwoman when it's like, oh, this is like he's gonna like reassure her or whatever, and he's just like checking out if the technology is working.
Yeah.
Also, great thing I like about this movie about aesthetically, very Gotham-esque. It's not futuristic. There's 2 pieces of future tech in the movie.
Yep.
One of them's kind of like just cool, and I'm like, I get it why you put it in there. One of them's just kind of dumb, but it ends in a funny scene.
Okay.
And also when he goes to work with stuff, it's not holograms. It's text. It's tactile. He touches things. He goes to one like for a camera. He goes to like try and like match to the frequency, and he adjusts dials and shit. He's not just sitting there going like, no. The holograms will do the work for me. It's not some MCU. It's not Christopher fucking Nolan's Batman. Yeah. It's like actually him like touching stuff, working.
Remember that one scene in Christopher Nolan's Batman when he somehow manages to get that fingerprint off that bullet, and it does not make a fucking lick of sense.
Yeah, because the bullet...
he gets a bunch, and then he fucking uses a fucking machine gun to shoot one bullet into like a piece of fucking brick.
Yeah, to find out where they got the bullets from or whatever. It's like, is this look the same as the other bullets? No, try shooting again.
Yeah, so this is much more of a detective movie from what I've heard.
Yeah, and I think that's what really takes the, like, ups the length of the movie.
Yeah.
Also, the Riddler kills 5 people.
Damn.
I think. Maybe 5 people.
My biggest complaint...
You get attention to all 5 of the people. It's not like he just kills a guy that you don't know off screen. You get, like, at least 10 to 15 minutes with each guy.
That's cool. The one thing I don't like about this movie that I know about it just from the trailers is the Riddler really does not seem much like the Riddler.
No, that was Holly's complaint as well, is that she's like, all these riddles are super simple and stupid.
And they're not, and they're like, and they can be simple or stupid. It's but does it need to be that he's Jigsaw? Does it need to be that he's generic serial killer and like isn't the character and doesn't even dress or look like the character?
He's not really like Jigsaw. Okay. Either with like he kills people pretty quickly.
Okay.
There's one guy he does like a Jigsaw-esque thing to, but pretty much most of the time he just straight up murders somebody.
When I said, "Oh yeah, he's Jigsaw," and I don't like that, Holly was like, "I think Jigsaw's cool," and I'm like, "Fuck off, Jigsaw sucks."
Jigsaw is like kind of cool. It's just
the Saw movies,
but like it was. Jigsaw
there
was
are better and worse Saw movies, but they're all bad.
Yeah,
get fucked.
They're Fast and Furious of horror or thrillers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where it's like, are they good movies? No.
And
do people
just
enjoy
like
them?
The Fast and the Furious, James Wan directed one of them.
Was it the best one?
Yeah.
I think James Wan did 7, right?
I think something like that.
Yeah. Which is arguably
the best one.
Which it's Paul Walker's last.
Yeah, I think that's the one that James Wan did.
It introduces a black woman that I cannot remember right now. She's from Game of Thrones. She played Melisandre.
Okay.
Tony Jaa's in it.
Yeah.
He is like the guy Paul Walker has to fight like the whole movie. And he's just really... Because, God, Tony Jaa's just fucking amazing at fighting. Yeah. He's so good.
While we're on the topic of spoilers, but not for the Batman, because we'll see the movie on Tuesday.
Yeah. What are we about to spoil?
I'm going to preemptively spoil Stranger of Paradise because that game's coming out in like a week or 2.
You go for it. I don't care.
Okay. So you know... Who's the main character of Stranger of Paradise again?
I can't remember his name.
Okay, Jack. Do you remember his last name?
Off.
Fuck you. So the character's name is Jack Garland. And we know that Stranger of Paradise is a prequel / retelling of Final Fantasy 1. The final boss of Final Fantasy 1, the character whom is the chaos that Jack is claiming to try to kill, is named Garland.
Oh, it's his dad?
So it's either A, his dad, or B, more likely, he's going to become Chaos by the end of his quest to kill Chaos.
I'm going to kill Chaos.
Right. Like, I think he's going to become Chaos, and the final battle of the game will either be against the protagonists of Final Fantasy 1
It's going to be like the
Jack.
Final battle of Nier Replicant.
Yeah.
Where you fight a version of yourself.
Yeah.
And then you find out you're not yourself.
Yeah. I think that'll probably be it.
Yeah.
Or it'll be like you play as someone else trying to kill Jack, which would be cool.
Did you ever get to ending E or D?
The first time. Just the first time. Just on the OG
You just got the first ending? Or the first game? So you never got ending E?
I didn't get ending E, no.
Holy shit, it's devastating.
Yeah.
No, ending D is devastating. Spoilers for Nier Replicant.
Yeah.
Ending D, Nier sacrifices himself.
You delete your save.
You delete your whole save file, but you sacrifice yourself to save Kaine. But then your sister, who you've like struggled to save the whole time, walks up to Kaine and just says, "Hey, thanks for saving me. I don't know why you went and did all of this." And Kaine, because they are not exactly a replicant human, whatever the fuck is going on with that universe, she like just go. I was like, I'm just gonna keep calling her a woman because she is non-binary, but her pronouns are like she.
Kaine is not non-binary. Kaine is intersex. Okay. She has both forms of genitals, but she identifies as a woman.
It's the best. If you're a coomer. It's confusing because it's also not explicitly stated in the actual game, just in the extra stuff. But they they remember, and then you go through this whole thing where you play as them. Or you encounter Nier again as a kid in ending E, and it turns out everything that had already happened is happening again, like it always does. It's all a fucking cycle, and Nier is back, and they remember. Mm-hmm. So that's why the fucking game changes at the end.
Damn.
But just like ending D, when they're just like clearly they were in love with him.
Yeah. Kaine was. Well, you have the moment when she shoves him against the wall. You're like, oh, these two people love each other. Yeah,
and just one of them's like really obsessed with getting their sister back.
Yeah,
but like, it's always like it's definitely a better romance than like 9S and 2B.
Yeah,
where 9S is in 2B, you can even be like, it's not like romantic love.
Yeah,
you could say like you could actually say that is full on like a sibling relationship. Well, unlike Rise of Skywalker.
Well, okay. Let me. So for 9S and 2B, it's intentionally left vague, and that's why at that one point in the game, you really want to XXXX 2B, don't you? And the point is that you can fit a bunch of words in there, right? Obvious one is fuck, but there's also kill, right? There's all these other things because 9S's 2B's relationship, as is revealed, is much more complicated.
Yeah.
Right? Which is great.
Because you could have like a subconscious because their brains are incredibly crazy.
Because spoiler alert, she's not 2B, she's 2E.
Yeah.
She's been murdering him over and over. You should just
put in the fucking description or in the title for this one. During the weeks, we just straight up spoil a lot of shit.
Spoil everything.
Yeah.
Spoilers for Elden Ring, The Batman, Stranger of Paradise, and Nier Replicant and Automata.
And also Yakuza 7.
Oh, yeah.
That one was minor, and also that game's like 3 years old now, and we also already did a spoiler cast for it. So,
but yeah. Anyway, it's a long app. Let's.
It's not that long. It took like 10 minutes to take a shit in the middle.
It's
a normal app.
This is a normal app, but we can call it here. Yeah. Right? And anything else to think about?
No, I'm good. No?
All right. Thanks so much for listening and/or watching. You can go to youtube.com/NAScomedy if you want to see the video version of all these episodes. Where you can see us in person. And sometimes we whip our dicks out, and you'll have to figure that out because they're long videos, buddy. Anyway. If you want to follow me, I'm at The Media Hole on Twitter. I'm at The Media Hole on TikTok. I'm at twitch.tv/The Media Hole and www.whenyourballs.get-stuck-to-your-leg.tumblr.com. If you want to follow Ian, he's at StrugglesV on everything. He recently came under fire for saying that Putin is worse than Hitler because the Holocaust isn't real. All right, guys, see ya.